So welcome. Welcome to the finals of the 2017 Y2 Sage Entrepreneurship Conference. It's been a very long and tedious, but also really, I think, enriching sort of week. I know that there's been a lot of work done. So what I want to do is tell you about what's going to happen this afternoon, and I will, just for the benefit of those with flash photography, I'll go through what happened and what led us here, and then we'll kind of get to the pitches. So this afternoon, after kind of the recap, one of the alumni of the Y2 Conference 2016, Candy Cutlery, Leanne Kai will be here to share Candy Cutlery and Leanne's own journey, to kind of give you a sense that in April 2016, they were in your shoes. They were sitting in, not the exact same chairs, but they were sitting kind of where you guys are. So you get to hear kind of what happened after. And where's Sarah? Sarah might be coaching someone. So I'll come back to in a second. After Leanne's words, we'll get into presentations. So there are 11. Can you hear me? All right. Sorry? Okay, so I feel like I'm wrapping. So we're going to do 11 presentations. There will be a break after number 5 for 10 minutes, and we'll kind of, then complete the presentations. The judges will then have time to deliberate the top 2 presentations, and they'll do the final presentations of that at the end. We are not laddering just to set expectations. Can people hear me? Yeah. Sure. Brian, is it okay from a non-microphone level, or do you want? No? Okay. Let's try a different one. Was it? I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not. Okay. So yeah, we're not doing number 1, number 2. That's not the point here. The point is education. And so we'll kind of identify who the judges will pick the top couple teams, 2 teams that they think did really well today, did particularly well. But we're not going to release like a 1 to 11. That's not the point. So that's what to expect, and then we'll eat and then hang out and then head home. Sound good? Yeah. So what did we do? So last week, you guys were majority of you were here. We had 19 open mic pitches. I feel like I'm seriously freestyling. 10 ideas were shortlisted. 10 became 11 because there was kind of a morphing over the course of the week with a pivot. So now we're at 11. The workshops that you guys went through, design thinking, need statement, customer validation, building a pitch presentation, and then today with Ron Sang, you went through effective public speaking. And that brings us here. Over the course of last week and this week, you worked with a roster of mentors and coaches and workshop facilitators. They are not all of the volunteers that have been working with you and have been part of this experience, but I did want to acknowledge all the people that spent time with you, sharing, either they sat with you for a bulk of last week or they kind of fluttered in and out to help give you different perspectives. Can you hear me if I do this? Okay, I'm done being Eminem. So what happens with the top 2 teams? Again, the spirit is learning. So the 2 teams will go on. They'll basically have a chance to sit and have dinner with one of these 2. So Minash is he's got a startup company called Enthusiast Gaming. They've just successfully raised a round of funding, and so he's been through the cycle of startup, starting the business. He's done a bunch of things around joint ventures, and one team will have the opportunity to sit with him and get a sense of what he's about and what he's been through. The other person, Val Fox, she's one of the co-founders of the facility you're in right now, the DMZ. She has since spun off the Pivotal Point, and she's helping other incubators scale up. So she's taking the expertise and the experience that she's had with the DMZ to help others start up. So that's kind of what, again, this is about learning. So this kind of access, and I would suggest that for all of the mentors and coaches and volunteers here, the judges, the workshop facilitators, I will say that a lot of adults I know don't typically have access to these guys. So during the break, mob these guys and make sure you spend time with all of the volunteers. This is not very common, and this will help if you gain perspective. So, any questions about that? So the judges, and I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna take a page out of Jess Joss's book, and because you guys have such a robust background, I'm gonna kind of call out a few things. So I have to write this down. So Christy, it was right here. So Christy, and by the way, all of the volunteers share a passion in helping you guys by offering their experiences and really believing in, high school students, Gen Z, and what you guys can do. And so far, I've heard so many comments by people who've listened to your pitches, even in passing and practice, and they're impressed with you. So no pressure. But you guys are doing fantastic. So Christy, so she's got more than 10 years of industry experience. She's worked in, helped government, not-for-profit, and businesses. She's a principal at Quantius, which is a fintech lending company, providing growth capital to IP-rich Canadian SMEs. She's also director at Tadek Financial. And where you and I met was in a common belief of youth. So the Quantius Foundation was set up to help girls and be comfortable with STEM and really learn about STEM. That's a cause near and dear to my heart. So, you're like ridiculously busy, and thank you for bringing the passion and your expertise here. Seriously, look at this. So Jess Joss. Jess is, just as impressive and amazing. So Jess is the executive director of the York Angel Network, or Angel Investor Network. She's grown, I think when you started, was it 40, 30 angels? So approximately 34. And now the York Angel Network is north of 80. So Jess, as the executive director, has really been taking York Angels and building bridges and connections into the ecosystem, not just in York region, but also across the GTA. She's also the co-founder of a company, a marketing company called Insightful Design. So thank you for being here. And Tyler Handley created Inkbox, which is, if I get this right, is kind of a semi-permanent tattoo. You've done several things. Graduated from Next Canada, or given advice to several startups, and you were a co-founder of Blurby and worked at BBC Labs. So again, very rich experience, and thank you for taking the time out to be here. So let's give a hand to the judges, please. What would be a competition for high school students if there wasn't a rubric? So everybody has seen this. This shouldn't be a surprise. But for anybody, anybody who's kind of come in to watch, these are the criteria that the judges will be considering as they determine who they think the top two teams are. If in an angel or an investor or venture capital situation, there would be other factors. For the purposes of education, this is what we're going for. Sound good? So, a little bit of a backdrop. So in April 2016, Leanne, this is coming your way. In April 2016, we did one of these things, and there was a team that began called Candy Cutlery, and they went on to do some really interesting stuff. They were one of the top two teams that in that conference. They've gone on to do some really cool stuff, and just like Spit Strips when they came last week, what we wanted was to offer you guys a perspective that you too could be doing this. They chose to go further, so this isn't about forcing everybody to go start a business. But they were curious. They listened to, they worked with people, they were connected to mentors and, worked with coaches, and they really were curious about that next thing. What if we could go to the CNE Innovation Garage? What if we could, approach desserts stores? What if? So they've got a remarkable story, and what we wanted to do is share a second, in addition to Spit Strips, share a second journey that really originated in the similar place that you're in right now. So, Leanne, thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks. Hey guys, how are you doing? Can we get a bit of more energy in here? How are you guys doing? Hey, good job, guys. Okay, let's go back. So my name is Leanne, as you've heard. Sorry. My name is Leanne, as you've heard, and I'm from Candy Cutlery, which originated from Y2 Labs, which is where you guys are right now. And before we go on to Candy Cutlery, let me first tell you a bit about myself. So as you know, again, my name is Leanne Kai. I am a food science and marketing student at the University of Guelph. And at Candy Cutlery, I do marketing and product innovation, which ties into my university. And I know a lot of you guys all of you are in high school. So I'm just going to put it out there that I went to Agincourt Collegiate Institute. Okay. Are there any Agincourt people here? Yes. There are and here's a bit of the passions that I share, which tie into my startup Candy Cutlery. So let's talk a bit more about Canny Cutlery. Canny Cutlery originated here at Y2. Our founder, Lynn Chen, she was a student here as well, and she won first place. And from then on, Daniel, another co-founder of ours, he approached Lynn, joined the team, and in July 2016, we got accepted into the DMZ Ryerson Bootcamp, and I later joined the team. So from there, we got into many other incubator hubs, and we kept moving forward with our startup. So, that's a very blurry picture. But as I mentioned earlier, I did not join Canny Cutlery from the beginning here at Y2. How I got involved was actually in university. I went to a conference called QACE, which stands for Queen's Advanced Canadian Entrepreneurship Conference, and from there, I actually met Lynn and Daniel, who pitched their idea of Canny Cutlery to me, and they were looking for a food science and marketing student to join their team. And that's where they pitched their company to me, and I later joined Canny Cutlery. So Daniel, he was also a student here at Y2. He's not here today, but here's a quote, that he wants to share with you guys. So it's, Y2 was an amazing experience. I originally was on a separate team at Y2, but luckily I learned to step out of my comfort zone, and I approached Lynn and offered to help her with her startup idea. So fast forward to a year later, and I'm a co-founder at Tough Candy. And let me explain that a bit more. So Daniel was actually part of another team at Canny Cutlery. After hearing that Lynn had won, and he really liked her idea of creating hard candy utensils to replace plastic spoons, he went and pitched himself to Lynn and asked to join the team. And so this is the Lynn that I've been talking about. And she has a quote to share with you as well. And she says, "Believe in yourself. We started with no money, no connections, and no experience. When I was at Y2, the only thing that I could do is to believe that it is possible to turn an idea into a company. I then asked lots of questions and made sure to find passionate people along the way to help bring the vision to life. It's been a thrilling journey of cried, laughed, hustled, and made new friends along the way." So let's sum it up. Our whole message is to kind of surround yourself with good people, with people who can inspire you. That can be your co-founders, that can be your friends here with you today, or even the mentors and the judges that are here. So make sure that you keep your connections that you make. Make sure you go out, reach out to other people, introduce yourself to all the judges and all the people who are here today, and keep those connections. So I'm just going to share with you like a short video of our company at Europe this past summer. This was a trip that we went on after winning the Sage Canada competition. It's something that we want to share with you because we want you to keep working hard, because we know that a startup is not easy. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of long days, sleepless nights, and a lot of challenges. But with it comes rewards. So let's play this video. I don't know if you can full screen it first. Or maybe if you play it and then full screen it. There we go. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So in that video, you probably saw and recognized Nafis and Janice. They're also here today. Great info. That is a Candy Cutlery commercial. Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed that short clip. We hope it inspires you to keep moving on. And entrepreneurship is not something that comes easy, and you guys should be proud to kind of explore and pursue this. So I kind of want to leave this off with a quote that my Uber driver actually this morning told me. And he said that nowadays there are many people with no jobs, and jobs are kind of diminishing. So entrepreneurs are those people that create jobs, and you guys are part of this movement. So be proud of yourself and keep moving forward. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Leanne? All right. Thank you. So, thank you again, Leanne. Okay, so the order of presentations again. We're going to begin with studies. And so the format of this, the presentations will be 9 minutes of presentation followed by 3 minutes of Q&A. So, you get timing? Okay, so Svetlana has got the timing. So she will give a 3-minute and a 1-minute warning, and also in 30 seconds, sorry. And she will also be letting the judges know when the 3-minute Q&A period is up. So Sadiz, come on up. So, clicker, microphones.
Okay, one on the side. Okay, and then, so who's going first? Hello, test.
It works. Wait, this one, like, kind of. I think I can talk louder than this mic. Hello. It's not very loud.
It works? Okay,
yeah, this one's not very loud. I did.
So, let's keep the mic.
What's funny is that the mic is somehow...
Do I have to be Eminem too, Lucas? You have to be like Eminem.
Hello. Okay, it works.
Yeah, you gotta wrap it.
Oh yeah, I gotta be like Eminem right now, right? Even this one's kind of like a little bit crippled. It's okay.
You guys keep the mic on that side?
Wait, it's kind of working, but not really. We're just gonna...
I don't know. Read it. I'm gonna read it.
Alright, so you know what we'll do? We'll just try to talk as loud as possible.
I'm just nervous now.
Just talk loud. Pretend to hold the mic.
Yeah.
We good to go?
Yep.
Alright, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Junaid.
My name is Joseph. I'm Steven. I'm Jesse. And I'm Darren.
And we are the founders of StudEase.
So all of you guys here are students. And show of hands, how many of you think studying is hard? That's quite
a lot of hands.
How many of you think studying is time consuming? Well, for me personally, studying is one of the most stressful things in my life. And I'm not the only one. We conducted a survey with 200 different students from across the GTA, and they all agree on one thing. Here's our findings.
Out of 200 students that we have surveyed, 94% of them showed that studying can be very hard. And anything that is difficult usually will be time consuming.
So obviously studying is time consuming. And according to our surveys, 90% of students agree that studying is time consuming. But how time consuming exactly? This is where our survey showed that 66% of students spend 2 or more hours studying for one test. This is a lot of time considering that students have multiple courses to worry about in school.
So we just thought there has to be a better way. And there is. It is StudEase. Now, what exactly is StudEase? It's not working, Lucas. What exactly is StudEase? StudEase is a free and interactive learning hub. It's a community for students to post their notes and then rate them to ensure their credibility. In addition to that, students can find very specific course material so that they're not browsing the internet for 3 hours if they want to learn one simple thing. And the best part about all of this, it's free. So easy. Go ahead.
So how easy is it? Well, all you need to start with is your name, your email, a username, and a password. That's it. No credit cards, nothing. Just that. And once you're all set up, you can get searching.
Step 2, the search. Oh, it works.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, so whether you're a go-getter and you want to get a head start in your grade, or you're up at 2 a.m. cramming for a test that you left for the last minute, we've got you covered. You can search for a wide, broad topic, or you can search for an isolated topic. You can even search for an author that you've been following and post consistent great notes.
So now we get to step 3, which is actually reading and using these notes.
So the next step would obviously be to read these notes and utilize it for efficient studying. This could potentially be the key factor to taking studying to the next level. It could be the difference between the 80s and 90s. This is where a question comes up. How do you assure the quality of these notes?
And that comes to step 4, our rating system.
So we asked students, what's your main concern about a platform like this? And the biggest concern was credibility. This is the problem with Wikipedia. This is the problem with Quora. What we do is that we have a sophisticated rating system where every single student can rate the notes, and our automatic rating system will filter out the consistently negatively reviewed notes. And the positive ones will benefit the author and the students.
So now what happens to these ratings? Where do these ratings go? How do you know who really is helpful and who isn't? And that is our profile. Now this profile is something great. Any idea? You know what a profile is, Alex?
Yes.
What's a profile?
It gives information about the user.
Exactly. And that's exactly what our profile does. Every single time you post a note, every single time you help a student, every single time that you answer a question, it gets added to your profile. This way, people can literally go ahead and say, I like this tutor. This guy really helps me out. His notes are great, and that actually builds an amazing status for you, and it makes you a very credible person. So now just to prove that other students can help, their notes can help, we answered that question in our census, which will be answered by Stephen.
So, out of those 200 people, we can see that 90% of people believe that notes will help them in achieving that high mark. But on top of that, we can also see that 96% of students believe that having a peer-to-peer connection will also help you in getting those super high marks. But now I can hear you guys saying, oh, why are you guys so different from Wikipedia? Well,
the main difference between us and Wikipedia, for starters, is that we are a student-to-student connection. We are students here to help you, and you are students trying to help me. The next thing, something so important. Are you ready for this? It's free to use. It's the first time that you can go ahead and access students' notes. You can access other study materials and not pay a dime for it. Because of the amount of students that we can have using this, we will have a very large amount of course notes. And that brings us to a variety that can fit every single person's needs. In addition to this, you no longer need to spend 3 hours scavenging the web for one simple piece of information because of our convenient isolation system, which can help you pinpoint exactly what it is that you are looking for. Now, I know what you're wondering. It's free. How are you going to monetize this? And the way that we would do this is with volume. Wherever there's volume, there's an opportunity to monetize anything, whether it's through advertisements, and we can also offer services using our profile to help other students engage with a tutor. From that, we can take a commission from there. So, just for starters, it eases the process.
Saves time.
It relieves stress. Join studies.
Oh, okay. So, judges, 3 minutes to ask some questions.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
I wish I was a high school student again so I can potentially use this and be your user case. Just a quick question on how you plan on incentivizing students to upload notes. I recognize that, you know, if I have a bunch of good notes, I obviously want to get those 5-star ratings. How do you want to incentivize me, who are going to be your top or key content creators, to generate that?
That's a great question, and that was our first thought too. What would make students actually go ahead and post these notes? Take Lucas, for example, over here. It's the idea of community. He wanted to bring together a group of people and form a community of students just like yourselves, judges just like you, and that's exactly what we're getting at here. People have the urgent need to go ahead and build that community. In addition to that, not only will you build your community, not only will you build your credibility, but using your profile, we can make it so that you have a lot of students who want tutoring from you, and you will take a fee from them, which we will then use to monetize us by taking a commission.
Great, thank you.
So following on that then, is the next step to have a payment platform to help with the tutors be able to pay online, and that you'll take your commission that way?
Yeah, so we haven't actually worked out the pure logistics of it. However, a lot of, we could run it like an e-commerce store using the same lines of code, in the sense that students would just need to put in their PayPal or credit card information, and we could do the deduction from there. So we would set up the entire tutoring platform using various, forms of communication, such as chats, video chats, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, how do you guys combat against people trying to use this to cheat?
So-
Facebook groups had this problem, and
Yeah.
they've really never addressed it. They really couldn't, because it's not their focus, right? But you guys, this is your focus.
So that's actually a question our mentor asked us before, and he said, well, how are you going to make sure students won't just message each other and say, well, why don't we just do it for a lower cost? And that's exactly where we thought of a platform like Uber. You're not given the number of your Uber driver until after you've made the payment. You're not given the car that they're in. You're not given any information other than the fact that they are near you. And that's exactly what we'd be doing over here. We would make it so that you would just see the profile of, but there would be no access for you to be able to message them. Instead, there's a schedule of when they are available. You can book a time, and we would set up a video chat platform with a timer on it. So that would ensure that there's no other means of communication other than that 1 or 2 hour slot, whatever time you're booking. That's about it.
Great.
Cool. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Extra points for Okay, time to power up, powering up. See what I did? Okay, here. I'll call up your slides.
Hi. Well.
1, 2, 3, power up!
Hi.
Oh.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alex.
And my name is Derek, and our idea is powering up. And we know from personal experience that many people underestimate the power within small packages. But we believe that that small packages can have great potential. So this is a company, Powering Up. Change different, live better. So the problem that we have is, have you ever gone home and you needed to change something that needed batteries, but you needed AAA batteries, but all you had at home was AA batteries, and you get all frustrated. So our idea is to create a really strong AAA battery that can have shells added into it, so then it could fit the size and power of AA and A batteries. And there's no real recycling or reusability of batteries right now. So by doing this, we can reduce the amount of batteries that is added to landfills, as they're very toxic, and we can increase the recyclability of these batteries.
Okay, and now I have a statement for you. Like, alkaline batteries are diminishing and getting replaced by rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. How many of us agree? And so, I'm not surprised if that, like, nowadays we are more reliable to our cell phones and our laptops, and they're using a different batteries for its own purpose. But for our alkaline batteries, dry cell, rechargeable batteries, they're not diminishing. The cells is still increasing, and that's a myth. And now I think our products does have potential exists for dramatic societal value, and now dry cell seems like monotonous to us, as is like just cylinder is nothing special. I think our battery industry needs innovations, and our society demands sustainability. That's why we come with our products. The first one will be Power Shaper. We call it P Shaper. It allows AA batteries and A batteries to be substituted with AAA batteries. So is there any sample? Sorry, I'll just keep going. The purpose is to make it easy and safe to switch. And there's a clip to ensure it's connected. And at the end of both sides, there's a electronic resistance which reduce and adjust the currents according to AAA and AA batteries.
So to have this strong AA battery, we also need to recharge it. So this is our power box idea. So basically, you have this small compartment that you can slide out, and that's ergonomic and it can save space. Then you put the batteries in, and you can recharge them, and then they also worked in 3 different types of levels. There's the battery, there's the time, there's a sleep setting, a walk setting, and a work setting in which it's different times that you can use to charge the different batteries. And on these battery charging stations, we could also have time and digital screens to show when different batteries are done charging and things like that. So these are just 2 more examples and color schemes that we could use, and these could both be integrated with other pieces of furniture, for example, on the side of desks and things like that. So the left side is more, it's more natural, and you can integrate it in with a more homely feel, and the next one's more professional.
Yeah, but I agree with that. There's a potential for our pop boss to develop in a lot of creative ways and presenting in a lot of visual. And now, how is it going to impact the consumers? So, in the perspective of consumer, the consumer they demands of economics, savings. They comment on if environmental friendly. They comment on the adaptability. They comment on the efficiency and the durableness, and the most important is safe. So we conducted a survey which has 100 people. Just it's good that we have a lot of varieties of responses. And now, what do we expect from batteries? So we come here with results is durable, strong, accessible, efficient, lots of stuff. But we can see for fashionable, it's 2 responses. And have anyone actually have thought about batteries can be presented in a fashionable way? Anyone? So now, our main idea is focusing on visual satisfaction, multi-purposes, interaction between consumer and products, and make it as a storage.
So, from our survey, we found out that 91% of people have interest to buy this product. So when we did the survey, our question was, our idea is to create a recharging station and rechargeable battery that is the size of an AAA battery with shells of AA and A batteries added to it, depending on which one you need and how much are you willing to buy this product. And as you can see, more than 91% of people agree with this and they would like to buy this.
91% is such a great number. So now, when it comes to the cost, a lot of them in our current market, a lot of rechargeable charger, they are around 20 to 30. And when we conduct our survey, we kind of how do you expect the prices should be? So we got a variety of the answers, and it's surprising we have a lot of people who would like to pay more than 80. We got a comment of 300, not even joking. And we got more than 75% would like to pay up to 30. Yeah.
And so different specific comments that we got was that some people said that environmentally, people think that batteries are environmentally problematic and promising. And people also said they're frustrating. Surely there must be a better solution to this problem, and that's just their product. A product just to create more efficient and sustainable a battery charger. And how much to pay for the product. People, a comment we had was, I wouldn't buy the set if it was just 2 AA and A shells. So our idea is to have more shells so people can use it in different applications. And for what people expect for batteries, lots of people said that they thought that batteries should be environmentally safe and should be disposed of environmentally well. And what a battery could or should be. Lots of people also said that they should be rechargeable and long lasting, and that's just their product. And people also said that being sustainably made is extremely important. And we also found from statistics that people would pay much more for sustainably made products.
So comes to the question, is this product possible? Yes, possible. So to go on our primary focus on marketing, our batteries are created for low usage electronic devices such as microphone, alarm, remotes, a lot of robots, and there's for motors as well. And our target consumers will be mainly household families with kids, especially, and will be like toy and radio industries, and they consume it a lot, and healthcare and robotics users. And there's unfortunately, we are facing a lot of competition, like as we are running an electronic company and it's like in an oligopoly market. And we will have a lot of major competitors and we will have a lot of substitutes, like there will be like other kind of batteries, there will be like wireless charger and it comes to the last will be the licensing appliances process, which is like you have to get all the process in order to sell illegal in the market.
So then future plans, short-term goals, we want to develop a brand, register a company, licensing to learn more about batteries and how to make them. And we also want to work with partners to create a version 1 product. And so we would like to pitch and we would like to ask for $25,000 in startup costs. And this will help with licensing, website production, research, and mainly just creating the product. And we'd also like to work with other people in partnerships to try to create this product.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. Really cool use case. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Everyone's had that problem that you're trying to solve. But isn't there more to a battery than just the size? I mean, there's a different current, right? There's a reason they're all different sizes, right? How do you get across, tackle that problem? Is that something that's even possible?
So basically, the difference between AAA, and A batteries is that the current is different. The voltage can be the same. Like AA, they're all the same voltage. It's all 1.5 volts, but it's just a current. And the difference and the equation is voltage equals resistance times current. So as long as you increase resistance, then you can decrease or manipulate current as much as you want.
And add on to that, you're saying you were saying like AA batteries, AA batteries, and AAA batteries are created for a purpose, right? And I would like to say that our adapter is we want to try to reduce the production of AA batteries and A batteries. So if we adopt our adapter, our shaper, and a lot of environmental risk can be avoided.
Great.
You mentioned that you had a number of major competitors, but are any of them using the technology that you're talking about in the ends of your shaper?
No, which is why we think our idea is really good, because no one's really thought about implementing our idea yet. All people have done is created better and better rechargeable stations and things like that, but no one's really thought about completely changing the idea of batteries.
And also, I want to say excuse me, I would like to say as we face a lot of competitors, right? We can make contract with them and to develop the skills that it is undeveloped before.
Yes, really, really interesting product, especially since it addresses a very large environmental problem. Clean energy is obviously something we're all thinking about and talking about, so really good job for trying to fill that gap. I guess I'm curious as to whether or not you've thought about how much it might cost to make this and what your margins might be. I know it's a little bit premature to think about that, but I really like the idea and I really want to see it to market, so I just want to know if you thought about that.
So we did some research and it turns out that you can you can make these for around less than $1. And from these expectation of cost, you can see that people are willing to pay up to even $70. So we could put the price range of around maybe $30 and then that will give us a big enough profit.
And also for the boss, it is covered with a couple of features such as digital screen and there's a storage, and those are required minimum cost. There's a lot of rechargeable charger in the market. They have auto discharge function, and there will be a lot of cost in it, and we avoid that question. We avoid that problem, and we adopt the adjustable, the flexible changing speed.
Thank you.
RemWare.
Thank you.
Where's RemWare?
Okay, you want a clicker?
I'll switch up for you.
All right. wear your backpack. You wear Come this here. Come here. Okay, well, like, where do you want us to stand to throw it? Where are you going to be throwing the pie? Right in front of the judges. Yeah. Just give us like 10 seconds to say it. It's kind of hard for us not to.
Hello?
Okay, just testing it. Whenever you guys are ready. Yes.
So, Josh, why are you wearing that T-shirt? You don't even work at Superstore anymore.
Well, I mean, I never wear this shirt anymore, and it feels like I kind of have to wear it because I don't wear it anymore, and since I resigned, I feel like I'm wasting the shirt.
Well, yeah, just throw it away, I guess.
Fine, I guess I'll throw it away. And while I'm at it, I'm going to throw away all the rest of the shirts from all the organizations because there's no way I'm going to be wearing them anytime soon.
Oh, shoot, we have some shirts we're not ever going to use again. That's a lot of T-shirts, guys. Oh, my God. Okay.
So I want to ask you guys, how many of you have been to a one-day charitable event? Just a show of hands. Yeah, so almost all of you, or all of you. How many of you have worn an employee uniform? Almost all of you. Okay, so did you know that the average American will toss away 81 pounds of clothing this year? 81 pounds.
Well, I know, but why can't you just donate these T-shirts instead?
Here's the problem that comes with donating T-shirts. It doesn't exactly go where you want it to go. When you donate a T-shirt, it ends up in thrift shops that look like this, and eventually 10% of all the donated T-shirts get sold in the shops. The rest of it will go, of course, in the landfills.
Well, yeah, but the other problem is that the high cost and actually a lot of removable and waste that employees have with their T-shirts. Suppose you work in Superstore and you leave Superstore and you don't have those T-shirts left anymore with you. Like, you have those T-shirts, but you're not going to wear them outside, right? And you work at a restaurant at the same time. You're not going to wear that T-shirt anymore ever again. So that's a huge problem right there. No one really wears these T-shirts outside their charity events at the same time. So, our product, what are we? We are Remwear. And what our product is that we produce removable designs on our T-shirts. And the way it works is that we have clings or vinyl, basically that's what we call it, a removable vinyl onto the T-shirt, and we have permanent vinyl on there. So suppose, now Josh is showing you an example of how it works. You put the removable vinyl onto the T-shirt, onto the permanent vinyl, and it sticks on really easily. It works with suction, static electric energy, and it's really easy and it's not sticky at all for consumers to remove it and put it back onto the T-shirt. So really, you can have removable designs and reusable designs at any time and any place you want possible. So this is what vinyl is made of. The T-shirts are made of. It's made of cotton and it's made of vinyl. So the vinyl is permanent and you can have removable vinyl on top of the T-shirt. So this is our market segment. And our market validation, basically, our customer validation. So we went around and we asked around 300 people about what they like about our product and would they buy it or not. And 70% said, yes, we would love to buy it. And 30% said no. So we thought, we were in a predicament at that time. We thought that maybe a lot of people don't want to buy the T-shirt. Or maybe like the barriers of entry in consumer markets is really high because a lot of people with different age groups would want to buy it, but there are a lot of people who wouldn't. So we thought of a different approach. We approached Metro and we approached different retail companies. So Metro right here. So when we approached Metro, they said that they would love to buy a product if we provide a proper prototype of the product with permanent vinyl on top of the T-shirt and removable vinyl with it at the same time. So we said that we will make a prototype by the next 3 weeks and we will give it to them. And we will pitch it to them right there in 3 weeks. And we would also pitch our idea to JA, and we would also build our working prototype by December, even if we don't reach Y2 because we love the idea that much.
So we wanted to take a little bit of a step further. So since you can basically put any design on this, we wanted to use it as a form of advertising. What if companies or grocery stores such as Longo's or Metro or the Superstore on that shirt has advertisements from the products that are placed within their grocery stores. Let's say Kellogg's or General Mills. Who here likes Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Who here likes Ben & Jerry's ice cream? So what if you're shopping by, you walk by and you see an employee putting away some stuff, and on the back of their shirt it says 25% off, 40% off, all Ben & Jerry's ice cream today. Only today. Wouldn't that make you want to go see what the actual price for that Ben & Jerry's ice cream? And then boom, you've contributed to a potential sale for both Superstore and the products that are there. So to generate this kind of advertising, of course, the companies need to pay for that because again, the rights of the shirt is owned by Superstore now, and we provide the supplies for them. So this benefits the Superstore because now the advertisers can fund the expenses that would have been paid before for permanent shirts, and now they could also potentially generate ad revenue just from having people walking around in these 20% off deals for a certain limited amount of time that permanent shirts could not offer before.
Now, at the same time, restaurants can have it too. So suppose you go to a restaurant and you see an employee working there have the special meal of the day all written on the t-shirt. Oh, you're like, wow, there's teriyaki sandwich right there. Oh, I'm going to have that. It's the chef special. So it's a way of advertising, and it really works really well with retailers and restaurants. So for our future prospects, what if we get a lot of sales? And what if we get a lot of retailers and restaurants working with us? We would have to make a standardized template for them. So the permanent vinyl will be produced onto the t-shirt at a rectangular shape on the front and the back. And if you want it custom made, if you want the vinyl to be custom made, if you want the template to be custom made, you would basically ask these consumers to basically pay an extra amount for these, for the custom made t-shirts. So, finances. Now, I'm a money person. I love my numbers. And with finances, we saw that I researched and we found that the cost of producing a t-shirt in Bangladesh would be $3. And that's really cheap. And the cost of producing vinyl per square inch is 0.07 cents per square inch. And if you put that on a permanent vinyl template, the cost of producing would be $2.5 or $2.50. And the total cost would be around $5.50 for one standardized t-shirt, with the permanent vinyl and without the stickers. So if we sell 100 t-shirts, we would make, and retail them at $15, we would make an estimated net income of $947, which has a total markup of 70%, which is really high for a market.
Okay, so also one of our main competitions, of course, our product is original, an idea that no other company has created before, but our main competitor would be iron-on t-shirts. But iron-on t-shirts do come with one major problem. Is the fact that it's permanent. You cannot remove the design from the shirt. If you were to change it, or like there was a mistake that's placed on this design, where does it go? The only option is the landfill. And so our product basically makes it reusable, as well as cuts costs for the companies so they can buy and produce less, their expenses are reduced.
So, thanks for listening. And we have a lot of future prospects with our product too. We might want to retail it to consumers later on if our product really catches on. If the consumers see it and they like the product a lot, we might want to pitch it to them. And we might want them to build a website based on their preferences at the same time.
Another thing I want to touch on is think about this as a business. You pay, so for Superstore, I used to work there, and they do update their shirts every 2 months or so, maybe even a month, depending on the season. And that means they have to reorder a full line of shirts. So imagine this shirt here is $5 times the amount of employees who are working there. And you have to buy every month you have to buy a completely new line of shirts. Now, what Remwear offers is that you only buy one shirt, and that lasts for as long as the product lasts for. We're estimating about a year, and the stickers last for about 40 days, because that is the relative amount to for the limited time offers. And I think that's the most ideal for that. And I think if we were to have companies buy the shirt for the very beginning of the year, they save. Let's say the shirts are $5, and our shirt is marketed at $15. Instead of paying maybe $5, 12 times a year, which is $60. You're only paying $15 for the one shirt for the entire year.
So other thing that we have is that we have zero fixed costs because really we're outsourcing everything to different companies. The stickers are going to be produced from different companies at the same time, and even t-shirts is going to be outsourced to another country. So really, we're not even printing the stickers, and we're not even producing the stickers. We're combining them together and making one product out of that. So we have zero fixed costs at the same time.
At the end of the day, our company mission and our values are still achieved. We're reducing the consumption of shirts. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, and you can ask us questions now. Thank you.
That was really interesting. Thank you very much for that, and a great display at the beginning to pique people's interest. With regards to the stickers, are you envisioning then that they will sort of pre-order their year's worth of marketing stickers at the beginning of the year with the t-shirt, or more sort of an on-the-fly model when they're like, okay, strawberries are going to be on special next week? How do you sort of envision the stickers and the delivery and the time and turnaround for that?
I think it's definitely an option for companies to choose whether or not they want to have that. For us, we definitely want to deliver it to them as fast as possible. And if they want to plan ahead, that's great. And I think if it's better for us to do that as a company in advance to provide those. And I think with that, we want to provide maybe some sort of discount if they're able to plan, because it's easier for us as a company to develop a full year plan for our partners who are buying them for us, and maybe we can have a different strategy or option for people who have maybe a last minute kind of design they want to put on for their specials.
And what is the turnaround? So I've decided it's strawberries. How long till I get my sticker that says strawberries for 100 employees?
So it's really easy to actually produce these. So what you got to do is you just got to graphic design it on a laptop, and then you can easily print it onto a sticker machine. Okay. And there's all these special vinyl machines out there that a lot of stickers use. So it would approximately take 2 to 3 days to get it, and then you can have it on the next day. So we can basically give those stickers to the retailers in around 2 to 3 days.
Yes, I'm curious as to how I can wash this shirt, with or without the sticker. How does that work?
Okay, so the sticker here is removable. So once you can just store this wherever you like. You can also stick to windows, which is kind of nice too. But the material that it's made out of is completely heat resistant and washable. It can go through a washing machine at really high heat, so you don't really have to worry about damaging the shirt while it's going through the laundry.
So if you put white on the t-shirt right now, it wouldn't do anything to the vinyl. The vinyl will stay intact, and it would stay right there.
2 quick questions on the monetization. So you said how much the shirt was, but reordering the vinyls, what's the cost structure on that?
So the cost of vinyl, as I said earlier, it's 7 cents per square inch. So on a standardized t-shirt, as I said earlier, it will be $2.50 to produce permanent vinyl on it. So for the removable vinyl, the estimated cost was around 22 cents because we want the removable vinyl to be of higher quality at the same time.
And how much
because you can move it.
How much are you charging for it?
Oh, so for the removable vinyl, we're charging 50 cents per square inch.
Okay.
So that's and it costs 22 cents per square inch.
Okay, and one more question. You showed them being really big, and I was kind of playing around with the material. Do you see it, being able to go that large? It seems like this stuff, when you're turning your body and the contours of your body might like crinkle and fold. Is there any way around that? Or?
So these stickers that we use right now, they're actually pretty old because we couldn't actually get like removable like vinyl properly. But if they're newer and they last for around 4 months, so that's the date of expiry for removable vinyl. The permanent vinyl stays on the t-shirt forever, but the removable vinyl can be put on and removed, and it can be used for 4 months. After 4 months, then like the durability of it isn't that much because it's obviously a cost for everything. And the removable vinyl will not work after 4 months, and that is around 2 years old, so it's pretty old, and it still works.
Yeah, we have.
Right now,
You should just take it.
Just take them and stuff them.
Got a mic and a clicker.
Why'd you have a medallion?
Thank you. Wisen up.
So let me switch it up. Oh no, the clicker. What's the click button?
Go right.
Last number. So you mean like the microphone?
Ash goes first because he's first. Hi.
I'm Michael. Anasha.
Hey guys, my name is Joe Yu. I'm currently a grade 12 student at Father Michael Givney, and I have a confession. I am not doing that well in biology. I'm actually failing. My parents are furious at me. Well, I've been trying to catch up in class, and it feels absolutely terrible to watch everyone else understand everything and me just sitting there being unable to understand the teacher based on my learning style. So I went on a journey to see if I'm able to find a tutor that is personalized to my learning style. But the more and more I looked, I realized that things just aren't accessible enough. It was extremely difficult to find a tutor that was both affordable and personalized to my learning style. And that's why my team and I decided to create Wisen Up Educational Services, Learn Your Way. We are an online platform that is based creating a localized system that provides accessible, affordable, and personalized tutoring experiences. Before I go, Michael will go into the prototype later. I just want to say that our name, Wisen Up, Wisen is German for knowledge. And when put together, it's a pun in English saying that let's get smarter together.
So one of the key things that we wanted to address first is the existence of our market and customer validation. So according to a poll done by Newsweek, an American poll in 2000, about 42% of Americans said that students in school will generally need tutoring. And this number only could have increased by now in 2017 because of the greater competition for schools. So now that we know that there is a large market out there for tutoring, all right, so now that we know that there's a large market out there for tutoring, we determined the age group. So we sent out a survey that surveyed about 140 people. These people were a combination of students, parents, and also other just regular adults. So we determined that our age group was about 15 to 18. Then we asked them about what the average price they would pay. And most of them wanted to pay between $15 and $25 per hour, which was good. So that would be the price they'd pay for a tutor. And that was pretty good, considering that most high school students aren't really too picky about the price. So then another question we asked them was, where would you find a tutor if you had to go look for one now? And 40% of them had no idea. So they, as Joe said earlier, the process of finding a tutor right now is quite difficult, and 40% of them don't know. So up here, we have, what do you believe the most important aspect of a tutor is? So we asked this question, and this is some of the student responses. And most of the students believe that the most important aspect of a tutor is personalized learning. So they want a tutoring session that accommodates their learning styles. And then the runner-up was expertise, so that they know what they're doing. All right, so this one was, what would make you trust and choose us to find the most suitable tutor? And most of the people who answered our survey wanted validation and proof of our service. So the number one response was if there was recommendations from people I know. And then the other responses were similar, recommendations from other users. All right, so this was just another quick poll that we took about the name Wisen Up. So some people we discovered didn't really like the name, so we may have to rebrand that.
All right, so as going off of what Ash just said, parents are in the end the ones with the profitable power, and they're the ones with the end-all decision making. So with that being said, we want to keep in mind parental opinion when building our website. So as you see, when you go into the homepage, you're greeted with both a student and a parent directory. So as you go into the parent directory, you are greeted with the basic introduction to who we are, and of course an FAQ. We want to provide information that parents need. Because in the end, you need to build that trust factor with parents. If you don't have that trust factor, parents will not know what they're getting their kids into, and they will not be inclined to buy your product. So here are some of the frequently asked questions. What do we charge? Who are our tutors themselves? And we found that this particular question of who our tutors are mattered a lot to parents. You want to know who you're getting your child with and who's going to be spending your time with your child. And that's where we find the need for profiles. A professional looking photo. Their name, their price, their hourly rate, and most importantly, a short personal blurb to see, what this person is really about. Who am I really getting my child involved? You get to see your face. You get to see the courses that they're teaching, their location for convenience purposes. And you have the option to book now if you like what you see. So, heading off to Joe.
All right, so with our revenue model, it's actually pretty simple. So first, we would find a client who would want personalized tutoring. They'll approach us and we'll gather information, and then we'll pair them up with a tutor. Right now, we've actually started recruiting tutors. I found them off of a Facebook group called Amlock, and they're extraordinary students. Most of them in the senior years of Oh. Do we run?
So just so everyone knows, it's the fire alarm. This just means that someone has alerted them, and then if it beeps like twice really fast repeatedly, then we have to leave. So we just kind of have to wait at this point and see. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to switch it back, and I will say one thing. I have seen a lot of complicated things come up in presentations. This ranks up there. So the fact you guys are going to, take this and run with it, this is awesome. So best of luck to you guys.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to Wise and Up. We had a intermission. Good break. And I'm excited to going back to talk to you guys again. Before I start, I just want to introduce the other members of my team.
Hi, my name is Shankar. I am a designer at Wise and Up.
I'm Ben. I'm dealing with some of the emails for tutors and students. Sorry.
My name is Zorver Singh. I'm a developer at Wise and Up.
All right, so from where I left off, I was talking about how we recruited tutors. We found tutors off of a Facebook group called Amlock, and we interviewed each one of them personally. We're currently going through a short list of around 60 tutors, and we hired around 10 tutors. And these tutors are exceptional individuals, and we pass them to make sure that they're qualified for our clients. And the way our revenue model goes is that the client will pay us through our websites, and then we'll take a 20% cut before paying for the tutors. I know right now some of you are wondering, hey, why doesn't the tutor just run off with the clients and don't contact or pay you guys? And we thought about this multiple times. I've spent a lot amount of time trying to solve this problem. We decided that having a review and rating system, along with other supplementary materials such as tests or material to give the tutors to help teach their clients, is the best way to have the tutors stay loyal to us. Through a rating system and a review system, the best tutors that are consistent and loyal to us will get the most clients, and they're able to charge a higher price because they have more credibility. And the best part about all of this is that we didn't just think of this model. We actually got to test it. Here is my friend Aghosh. I met him through Amlock, and I got him to sort of work as one of our tutors. And here I have a quote for him. We actually got him paired up with a few other clients, and I had a client of my own. And here we have them giving us testimonies. Yes, these were paid clients. They paid us, and they loved our services, particularly with the fact that we matched up with the right tutor. I know in particularly Crystal, she had a struggle finding a tutor that could accommodate her learning style. She liked a lot of visuals, and I paired her up with Aghosh, who also loved teaching with a lot of visuals. And in terms of market and the potential growth, right now we're doing most of our advertisement on a Facebook group called Amlock. We've gotten both clients and tutors there. We've already expanded to other parent Facebook groups because we know that having parental opinion is very important, because even though majority of the students do choose their tutors, it's the parents paying for the tutors. And from there, we've chosen Michael's school with around 700 students, sort of as our first testing school, right? Off of our numbers, we calculated that if we are lucky, we're able to capture around 5% of the market, and that will generate substantial revenue for us.
So, on one last note, now that we've talked all about that, let's talk future. So, as Joe said, Amlock is one of the main primary resources that we're using for both marketing and outreach. Our plan, expand into these parent Facebook groups, which actually have a substantial amount of members. We looked at these Facebook groups that are local for parents of students who go to certain schools. These groups have an astonishing number of about average of 500 to 700 members per group. And there's dozens of these groups in Southern Ontario alone. that just proves the huge market potential. And the final point we want to end off with is, yes, there might be other tutor networks out there, and yes, there's millions of other tutor groups out there. However, we want the final plan for down the road is to localize the entire online tutoring process on one platform, Wisen Up. Now, let's end it off with our pitch proposal. We just want mentors. We are new high school students. Like all of you guys, we are new to the industry and the startup market. We want mentorship and people who can further enhance our platform. That is all. Thank you.
Any questions?
What have we? Oh, there you go. Thanks. So my question is on your matching mechanism, right? You personally are currently matching tutors with students. Let's say tomorrow you have 10,000 students signed up, 5,000 tutors. Are you still going to be doing the personal matching, or is there some sort of mechanism or algorithm you're going to be working with?
Definitely, Asher himself has been working on an algorithm, right? We don't intend on matching every single student in the future, especially as the company grows. We're only doing it right now to sort of as a testing phase, right? We're not exactly sure what words to put out there, what are the exact certain things. In the future, we want to either create an algorithm or sort of create a listing where clients can look for themselves along with their parents.
All right, that sounds good. I just a bit of advice. I think your unique proposition is the pairing, is the personalized, the tailoring experience, and that's what would really resonate with your customers. I would spend a little bit more time thinking about that and try to make that your unique proposition.
Very interesting presentation, and again, kudos for sort of rolling with the punches, so to speak. With regards to the tutoring, is it in-person tutoring or is it online right now?
So we are actually facilitating both, and one of the main value propositions is that, as Jose mentioned, that there's always that fear of tutors running away. However, online tutoring is really hard to facilitate because you have that whole feature. Oh, it's not really personal because I'm talking to a screen. Oh, I can't see these. It's not really hard to see these visuals. I'm just hearing the person explain the concept. So what we want to do is go to fully facilitating online tutoring, as well as being open to real life tutoring. However, in terms of the payment process, we want it to be all online for safeguarding purposes and also to prevent scamming from tutor side. And yeah, it's to promote online tutoring and to still facilitate real life tutoring in need.
In the near future, we've considered actually creating a platform where online or where we can have sort of like a Khan Academy where there's a whiteboard where both the tutors and the clients are able to draw. Based off of our previous sessions, having visual model is something that is really like preferred. And if we were to sort of give this customized learning style, it's something that we definitely want to look for in the future.
So good job on thinking about how you're going to acquire customers upfront. Just going right to the source where people are already looking for tutors. But you got to imagine that, at scale, you're going to have a different approach to acquisition. Do you have any ideas around how you're going to do that?
So, like one of the charts said earlier, it is sheer word of mouth, which means that brand recognition is really key. So far we've been focusing on spreading our word through social media and then having people, friends of friends of friends, starting to get the word of Wisen Up. And that is the key. By having that one friend who's a friend of a friend, that person can relate to their friend. And you start growing this network of people telling each other about Wisen Up. And in the end, it's really the word of mouth that is the main scalable, is the main factor that entices people to take tutoring. And of course, there are we are in the middle of creating content for our social media, such as LinkedIn, to further engage a greater audience, to bring them together to think about some of the problems that Wisen Up is trying to solve regarding studying and some of the skills that school fails to teach students.
Cool. Thanks.
So to quote Obama, or to reference the teachable moment, I'm going to paraphrase Mike Tyson, a great 20th century philosopher. And as an entrepreneur, you lay plans, you think you know everything, you do all the stuff you guys have done. And then you show up, and then life happens. So part of being an entrepreneur is being resilient. So congratulations to Wisen Up. You guys demonstrated the resilience. That's a big deal. So yeah, absolutely clap. But that's honestly, I think, for all threy judges, you've been through situations, I'm sure, where you're like, I have everything laid out, and then it doesn't matter if you had it laid out, to quote The Rock. So I think it's just great. This happened. It wasn't necessarily the ideal scenario, but it happens. And you know what? That's how life is, and that's how being an entrepreneur is. So good job, guys. So on that blue horizon, you're on the horizon.
Oh, I have too many things. Yeah, I have too many things to hold. Someone invent me a third arm, please. Okay. All right, guys. Opposite. All right, guys. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Our idea is quite different, and it is quite large. But you can't make big change without thinking big, I guess. So, to start off, who knows what this is? Anybody? Anybody? You. A wireless charger, yes. And on that wireless charger is the iPhone X, a device that is definitely not inferior to all Android devices. Anyways, so this came out a few months ago, and this is a great trend because you're seeing a company, Apple, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, with a valuation of, I believe it was 900 billion last time I checked, investing in all their future technologies and wiring it to wireless chargers. A year before, we had unveiled by Jeff Bezos to launch Amazon Prime Air, which is a drone delivery service which can deliver packages straight to your house. Now, while all this is happening in the tech world in Silicon Valley, halfway across the world, imagine this. A mother going out to collect water for her child. Her child had symptoms of a fever in the past week. And when she came back, she found that her child was no longer breathing. We are not saying this just to make you guys feel sad, but because we found this out and it made us feel sad. Because having little nephews of my own, I think it's just unfathomable for that to happen to a parent and to happen to thousands of parents every day. 2.4 million children die every year from preventable diseases. That means if they got the care they needed, they could have easily survived. And we launched into a case study into Cambodia. And Cambodia has an infrastructure that cannot deal with the amount of people being sick in these isolated villages with their lack of infrastructure. And here's a quote by the World Health Organization, and it's basically a very fancy way of saying that the government does not have the logistics or resources to reach these people. And so you might be thinking, that is a really big problem, and we all agree that children dying of preventable diseases is terrible. But what does that have to do with the iPhone X and the Amazon drone delivery? Well, I'm so glad you all asked. We have a great audience here today, Lucas. Yes. Well, we think these three worlds can come together. You see, in Rwanda recently, they launched a program where they delivered medicine via drone. And the program worked really well and was studied extensively for, future purposes. Now, this works really well because a lot of these desperate villages have no road access, have no infrastructure, and there's hundreds of them spread out across the country, and the government is spending millions upon millions of dollars sending very expensive doctors with medicine into the jungle to get them this medicine. And one problem we found with it is that the drones don't go very far. Currently, the Amazon drone can go about 16-kilometer radius, and so if you're outside that radius, it cannot reach you. But the thing is, if you're 17 kilometers, it can't reach you. The actual drone can travel 32 kilometers. Since the radius is how far it can travel, it has to come back to recharge. So our idea is to have wireless charging stations, just like the one Apple has, same technology, induction technology. They would fly 32 kilometers, land, and keep going to deliver the packages they need, tripling the distance drones can travel.
All right, so, we know that's quite a mouthful, and honestly, it seems like technology that's maybe sci-fi or from the future. So we're just going to briefly go over all the technology available so you guys know that it is feasible. And we've done the research and the math as well to prove not only how much energy we would need to power these things, but also how much money it would require to do it, and then what that would mean for the governments, as well as income for us for creating or providing the service. So pretty much, These are the induction plates. And when people think wireless electricity, for the most part, they think of like electrons shooting a current through the air. Now, this is feasible, but unfortunately, it isn't very prominent because it's not efficient enough. So using two coils from a very close distance, even contact, would allow up to 60% currently energy efficiency. And so the way it works is the electricity gets sent to the transmitter coil and then beamed up essentially through magnetic waves to the receiver coil. Now, the biggest problem that we have with these plates is where are we going to get the energy in third world countries? And so this is when we're talking about alternative energies. So we were looking at solar energy in particular, but it would also work for hydropower. Now, for solar electricity, we did the math, and it would require 216 square meters of solar panels. But once this tower is installed, it would be completely self-sufficient, essentially, and so it would require no human interaction whatsoever. You build it one time, and you let it sit there. So pretty much when we're talking about this as well as the plates, the concept that we had discovered or that we had sort of invented would permit 6 drones to land on the plates all at once. Now we would need 4 plates with a 250 watt capacity for each of the drones. So this ends up adding up to quite a bit of money, but we're going to go over that very soon.
Right. I'd just like to clarify that Curtis did the math. I saw the math and I ran away. Anyways, I'd like to show you guys that this technology is very real, and I have it. This is an Apple Watch, and it is completely wirelessly charged. This is the plate, and what happens is that it clicks on magnetically, charges, and then you can pull it right out. This is completely waterproof, which is pretty good for, jungles. And this is really great because since Cambodia and most of these countries are affected, these solar panels get a lot of electricity because they're near the equator, and most of these villages in need are actually close to a water source. So back to Curtis's point, when we tell people about this idea, they think this. They think super high-tech city. We're going to have like private planes that are going to land in your apartment, and you're going to have to get them and take off. But this idea is not decades into the future. In fact, it already exists. It's been proven to work, and not just phones, but in some prototypes for drones as well. And so we're not thinking too far into the future. This technology is already here. It just hasn't been combined into this system.
Okay, so pretty much we were thinking of strategic placing of our drone pads in Cambodia. And so we were thinking with 50 drone pads, we'd be able to cover 25% of the entire surface of Cambodia. And pretty much we'd place them up this river because most of the large cities, which are around here, actually have built-in infrastructures. And so they don't necessarily need the drones to deliver medication. But these ones up here are where the highest rates of death are, especially in infants and children. And so this is where we want to reach out to. Now, each sort of solar-powered tower would be able to reach 8,000 square kilometers. That's quite a big number. And so we're going to get into the sort of the cost analysis is next.
Yeah, so for the cost analysis, this is a very large project, and one of these towers would cost about $100,000. And 10 of them would be $1 million. And that is a lot of money. Oh, my God. I know. Did your heart just skip when I said $1 million? But we're thinking about our consumers. Our consumers is the government. They're already spending millions and millions.
Billions, actually.
Cambodia spends about $2.5 billion.
2.8.
Yeah, $2.8 billion each year on medical expenses, and this is a large part of it. And so for the government, if we say, hey, here is this technology, it will cost a few $1 million, and then it will be completely autonomous. No one needs to be at the towers to like charge them, and it will save lives.
Yeah, so we actually did the math, and up here where the doctors reach, this is the most expensive part, and that costs about 12% of their total sort of income of the almost $3 billion. And so just by installing these drone towers right here, we could be saving the government up to $400 million, which could go back into the people.
Yeah, and so it would save a lot for the government, and it is in our non-too-distant future. And we're just going to end it with this very unphotogenic picture of Bill Gates. I'm so sorry, Bill Gates. Bill Gates was in an interview, and he was asked, what do you worry about most? And he didn't say nuclear war or supervolcanoes or anything like that. He said he was worried about the spread of disease. And this chart here, this is how many people died in World War I, and this is how many people died of the Spanish flu.
Right after World War I.
And so having a system where we can quickly respond to disease and prevention of disease, we think is very important for our future. Thank you. wasn't bowing. I was keeling over. Okay.
Great pitch, guys. That kind of blew my mind, the rechargeable drones. Have you thought about how you would fund this? I mean, there's one thing, getting the government to fund it, but you have to get prototypes out there and show it works as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the prototypes, to get out of the prototypes, we contacted a few people like Solar City, and Ybotic. Solar City unfortunately has not gotten back to us, but Ybotic is basically a company that specializes in induction wireless charging, and they said they would love to send us a prototype and help us with it if we gave them the cost. Now, so your question was asking where would we get the money to prototype it? Well, there are a lot of foundations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that would be interested in things like this. So a lot of NGOs, charities, but as well as this is like, don't think of only diseases, even though that's our main point. Think larger. Think like the internet. That connected information with a lot of people. This connects sort of physical objects with many people.
I guess your towers could be transmitter towers.
Yeah, kind of like cellular towers in a way. And so you can implement that into the city. And so delivery mechanisms like FedEx and Uber Eats, they would be interested as well. And so you could have this implemented in urban areas.
So this is fantastic. Very big picture. So if you're looking at getting the medicine out there, what is the first step that you see in terms of diagnosing what it is, knowing what the medicines are? Because this sounds to me like it's going to be sort of self-administered, autonomous medical care. So maybe you can just walk me through how you get to knowing what goes out in the drone, etc.
Anyways, basically, the drones can also carry sort of pamphlets and informational guides to help the locals. But it's not just going to be like a drone falls out of the sky one day and they're like, oh, look at that. We're going to have doctors in there who will teach the locals how to administer the medicine. But after that, you don't need them anymore because they know and they'll have the
socialization program, and then this is replenishing.
And then they don't need to come back.
Thanks, guys. I particularly like the international development angle as, servicing the globally sort of underserviced. That's a particular interest area of mine. So, that aligns with my passion as well. So that's why I'm going to push a little bit further and challenge you guys a little bit. What is proprietary here in this process? Is it the technology itself? Is it, the induction charging? Is it the entire end-to-end process of drones plus renewable sources of power plus wireless charging plus delivering of meds? Like, what is your core that if you were to say, this is what we build, this is what we have, how would you describe that?
Oh, okay. I guess this was also mine. So what's proprietary here is that induction charging already exists and drone technology already exists. So what would be proprietary would be our system of delivery. And currently, the charging stations for drones are actually very small, thin platforms that can only charge drones for surveillance pieces. And cameras aren't very heavy. Our system would be proprietary because it would be a much larger system. It'd be self-sustained, which to our knowledge hasn't been invented yet, or at least created, normalized. That's the word. And so ours would be both using renewable energy sources that are independent from outside energy sources, and also much larger to charge the battery capacity of delivery drones.
Great, thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. Global figure.
Alice. So maybe give the boxes to the judges. And the other one. The banner. Just give it to Alice. Do you mind getting that? The banner. What to do? No, just hold it, and we're gonna.
Do we still need banner? I feel like it's gonna be distracting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, make sure we have a way for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alice.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Scott.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Taylor. And together we are Global Figure. So when I look into the crowd, I see a lot of aspiring global figures. Young, enterprising, brilliant minds. But think back to a time before your idea to change the world took off. You were probably, daydreaming. You had little resources to make your, dreams come true. And you might have realized that you weren't alone. So I want you all to meet Noor. She's a 16-year-old prospective change maker who is really, really interested in tackling some of the pressing environmental issues of our time. Only problem is, she's not exactly sure where to start or if she can even start. Constantly scrolling through social media, but she doesn't see anything empowering her to take that first leap. This is her thought process. And it seems like she's always wanting to, push off taking action until the near future. That's what she says. But what if there was a solution that was tailored to Noor and everyone that has a piece of Noor in them right now? I started Global Figure because I was desperate. I wanted a platform to see what I had in my mind being launched out into the world without delaying. So here's the problem. People under 18, like us, are especially disadvantaged because we don't have a sustainable source of funding, and it's time we solve that right now. We're on a mission to bridge the gap between youth and the environment through engaging, equipping, and empowering young change agents of today with the skills needed to shape a more sustainable future for all.
So how do we do this exactly? It's through a simple lifestyle kit featuring eco-friendly goods. Now, there are two ways to purchase this box. You can either A, buy it directly for $25, but as a student, $25 may seem like a lot for a cardboard box. However, we see in our community that teens communicate via social media. We think that if through social media they can talk about causes that we care about and that are happening in the world through social media and get only 25 of their friends each to donate only $1, then they would receive the box. We're looking to form young entrepreneurs who are aware of their community, a global figure. These global figures would spread the word to their friends and help the cause not only of the box, but to spread social awareness.
So these global figures are really at the soul of our organization because we've developed this sort of multifaceted trifecta. So the individuals themselves start out, but they're not just purchasing this lifestyle kit. They are purchasing this community. They are purchasing this whole lifestyle. And through this, people like Noor can purchase this kit and instantly be connected to this community. And therefore, we are starting a movement of young change makers. And from that community, they can drive inspiration. Now, from a business perspective, this will attract many different companies to want to put their products within our boxes, and it'll become competitive for them to get a spot within our box because of our brand and because we promote that environmentally conscious and socially aware message.
Thus, solving our secondary problem, a lack of conscious consumption. We are often told from various information sources to buy, while the planet just sits back and says, buy. In fact, we are so oblivious to this, but we don't realize our purchasing power, that it is in our wallets to shape, we can shape a culture of this conscious consumption because we are all going to be, the major purchasers, consumer group in the generations to come. So it's about time we position ourselves as a driving force now rather than suffer the consequences later.
Ultimately, it's all about building a movement. So through Global Figure, we develop that community through the selling of these lifestyle kits. So because we are a nonprofit organization, a major part of our organization is about giving back. And one of the ways in which we do that is through highlighting a specific issue within each box. So throughout the year, we'll have 4 different types of boxes. So they'll be seasonal. And each box within that season will highlight a specific issue. So all the boxes of one season, for example, might represent clean water. And to sort of reinforce that issue, we will highlight a local change maker related related to that issue who is currently working in the community. So within each box, there will be a little information card sort of promoting what they do and providing that inspiration for the consumers of this box to derive inspiration from. And in addition to that, we'll actually be collaborating with organizations that relate to the issue, promoting their message and sort of reinforcing our overall vision to promote environmental sustainability.
So, the finances. Every company needs to make money, even nonprofits. And you might be wondering, how does a small, up-and-coming nonprofit make money? Well, we started off by planning out our expenses for 5 months, and we did it by category and the cost of the expense, and then that expense after tax. And as you can see, we did this for each and every month. And then we added all that up. So we took the cost of the month-by-month expenses and the expenses that we've already made, and added up to $4,529. We then added up our revenue, where we sold 4 direct boxes a month and then 4 communal boxes, as well as donations. As we're a non-for-profit, we encourage people to donate. And you might be wondering, what's this use of the database/website category? Well, we plan to implement a database of sustainable products where people will look at them and then they can click on the links, which will grant us revenue from that. As well, if somebody buys those products, we get a cut of the sales, as well as government grants and charitable events. And then so adding this all up, we can see that our total revenue for these 5 months would be $1,401. And this is our long-term investment goal, so we're not going to go into too much detail about this because it's very daunting and it's very long-term, as you can see.
So in terms of communicating this message with the world, we were thinking of doing it digitally as well as in person. So digitally, that would mean through our various social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and in real life, as in having workshops and events in which youth could get the hands-on experience in learning to be more conscious consumers. And also, we have conducted a market research survey from 200 plus people, and it has shown that youth actually can't afford a $25 box. And it just reiterates the fact that our unique marketing strategy would enable students to get access to our box. And also another part of Global Figure is figurative language. So it's basically a one-stop hub in which we're encouraging content creators and also enabling youth to become more informed of global issues.
So I'm very thrilled to report that we are on the market today, albeit the fact that we've only started exhibiting at the Eco Fair 2 weeks ago. We've already made 1/5 of our fall sales goal, and I'm so thrilled to announce the fact that we're already in contact. We've secured a launch event venue and are in the planning stages. That same applies for our workshop, and to date, we've obtained a $2,000 grant from Taking It Global this summer, which quite recently, which means that people really do have the confidence in our shared vision for this circular economy behavior in our youth today. We've cultivated a 200 plus following on Facebook, with Instagram and Twitter just beginning to start up, and with much more in our plans, it is evident that our plan is 200%, if not more, scalable. So this is just a glimpse of all the campaigns we've done to date. And I would really appreciate, for more information, you can check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, in addition to our website. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Boxes are on sale. We have a box of them over there, $25 each.
Really good job, guys. And first I want to say strong delivery. So very good. I'm very convinced. And in fact, I want to buy one of these. I also want to comment that this is the first group that we've seen with female leadership at the front. So congratulations. Give yourselves a round of applause. I think the future of social entrepreneurship and enterprises would be very bright if young women like yourselves are behind it. So kudos to that.
Thank you.
You don't need advice. I think you're on the right track. Get yourself on a Kickstarter right away. Get some funding. But yeah, talk to me a little bit about competitive landscape. What scares you? What are you concerned about?
Well, I think the fact that subscription boxes are not targeted toward youth in general, but also, I guess that's a market that we have to break into. When I pitch the idea to our peers and say, this is sort of like a subscription box, but not quite, they sort of take a step back and say, first of all, I've never really, thought of myself as a subscription box and also a subscription box consumer. And also the fact that subscription boxes are predominantly for women in their 30s and 20s. So it's hard to appeal to all youth. But I think our biggest, what frightens me the most actually is what I touched upon, this disposable culture of consumption, fast fashion being one of them. I feel like we're up against so many large brands that, say, here's a $5 t-shirt. It's bang for your buck, but we don't take enough time to consider the wider ramifications of this. And I think, it'll take a long time for us to educate, a large amount of the population if we want to see tangible changes. That frightens me. It's like going head to head against this, rapid outsourcing. But I think no doubt with the exponential growth of our social media, we're projected to have 6,000 likes in a year on our Facebook. If we do this one friend sharing thing, it will not be a problem.
So with regards to the boxes, it's almost like the membership entry to the community. Is that correct? Is that sort of they buy the box, but that's how they get access to the community, the knowledge, and the continued inspiration?
Yeah, so once you make that purchase, you'll be instantly connected with various resources. So you'll be connected with figurative language, that online hub, and you'll also be able to contact other youth who share this vision, who have also purchased this box and have similar values.
And then you mentioned focusing in on some interesting, innovative people within the area. So are these going to be sort of geographically localized in the future? So it's change makers in Southern Ontario and so on?
Well, to begin, I think we've already featured Helen Lin. She does female STEM work, and she's only 16. But I think it's good to start local. I know there are a lot of huge ideas out there of going to overseas, but I think it's good to start local and let that just organically ripple out and become an international movement without having us having to go and place ourselves in a foreign country first. So yeah, I think naturally we'll just start to see everyone getting on board.
Can you clarify your revenue model a bit more? I didn't quite grasp how much, for example, you're charging one of these companies to be included in the box.
So most companies will, as we kind of touched upon, donate the product because as it starts to take off, they'll see that, all these other companies are getting all of this more sales because these people are seeing, I like this product. So now that I've tried the demo version that's in our loot box, I'll go to a store and buy more. And so this also has really increased the amount of revenue that we can make from these loot boxes because since all these products are mostly donated, right now it only costs about $10 per loot box after shipping the box and all of the little flyers that are in there. But as we start to mass produce, this will go down, of course.
Thanks.
Enertire.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Emily. Hey, Jess. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. I am Jess. Nice to meet you.
Emily.
Sorry?
Okay, so let's look at the saddest moments in your lives. So for example, when your favorite character on your TV show dies. So sad. Or, when you wake up every morning and you realize you don't have a sharp jawline. Sad. You see, but the saddest moment of all time is when you open that envelope and you realize it's your electricity bill. You see, we are Enertire, and we are here to revolutionize this entire new renewable energy. So, power up your drive. The slogan says it all. My name is Emily, Keyshawn.
My name is Emily.
And we are the co-founders of Enertire. So let's meet the team. So we've got some students in University of Waterloo, Max, Jason, and Andy, and they're studying, different type of engineering, so software, electrical, and computer. And then we've got Raymond Wang, studying at Harvard University. Let me say that again. Harvard University. And he's studying economics and social sciences. And then we've got Nevi, which is our graphic designer and brand developer, and Amanda, who's our financial researcher.
So what is the problem? Well, currently in Canada, there is no source of affordable and practical renewable energy. We are here to change that. In Canada, 65% of our energy is renewable and 63% of that is hydroelectricity. So you might be wondering, what's wrong with hydropower? Well, let me tell you. In order to manipulate such large bodies of water, ecosystems, wildlife, they're all being compromised in order to build those dams, build those power plants, and have those hydro lines installed. If we look at the other three options, solar, wind, and biomass, we can see that they make up 2% of the total renewable energy. Not only are these crazy expensive, but they're also really impractical because they're so inconsistent. When we asked our target audience what they thought about the affordability of renewable energy on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being not affordable and 1 being completely affordable, you can see that most of the results are they thought that renewable energy was not affordable. So this quote from a fellow Torontonian sums up the issue pretty well.
How do they expect us to think about sustainability when I can barely afford to pay my hydro bills? Tesla, solar panels, wind turbines, those aren't for ordinary people like me.
So let's take a closer look at Canada's current situation. Canadians rely heavily on two things: electricity and driving. The average Canadian pays just under $2,000 a year for electricity, which is a pretty large amount for what you would consider a necessity. On the other hand, the average Canadian drives around 20,000 kilometers a year and spends $1,500 on gas.
So what if we can create a new renewable energy that is affordable, accessible, and sustainable? You see, Enertire is creating tires that as it drives, it generates electricity. I wouldn't drop the mic, but I don't want to break it. So, basically, after a day's worth of driving, the stored energy can then be transferred into home appliances or to power the car itself. Depends on what the car is. So you're probably wondering, come on, what is the science behind this? You gotta tell me. Well, don't worry, I'll tell you right now. So the science behind it might be kind of like, the words might seem kind of big, but I'll try to simplify it. So we're using something called piezoelectricity. So the yellow square, that's not a square, it's a rectangle-ish. So what you see they're basically piezoelectric sheets that contain piezoelectric crystals. And what the crystals are is when it's molded or compressed, it releases a net charge. That net charge is going to be extracted from a piezoelectric transistor, which then stores it into storage. So, it's so many words, you're probably confused. So, you know what? The main concept is that it gets compressed, the net charge is then stored into a storage system. Ooh, these numbers are actually going to amaze you. I'm not even kidding. So, the electricity generated by a single car, given that you drive 20,000 kilometers, is 4,266.67 kilowatt hours. So you save 4,266 kilowatt hours out of your average consumption of 15,000 kilowatt hours. So an average driver drives around 20,000 kilometers. An average household uses about 15,000 kilowatt hours. So you're saving almost 1/3 of your electricity that you're using every single year. So you're probably wondering, okay, what's the actual price? What am I saving? You are saving $505.60 out of your $1,800 of your electricity bill. So next time you get the envelope and you looked at it, it's $500 less. And I'm not even considering how many drivers you're actually going to have in one household. Let's say you have multiple cars with this system. It's going to be multiplied of how much you're actually saving.
So why did we choose Enertire? Well, we realized that Canadians are going to drive no matter what. That is a fact that we cannot currently change. So why not manipulate this to our benefit? Even by generating 1/3 of the energy through one car of what we actually consume, we are still decreasing the dependence on these non-renewable and ecologically impactful sources of energy. So let's take a closer look at the market. So the demand for clean energy is consistently rising. Canada hopes to achieve 90% of its energy from renewable sources by 2030. We only have 12 years, guys. This is not enough time. Global investment in the clean energy is $325 billion. And in electricity, it's only $253 billion. So this isn't just in Canada. It's
everywhere, it's internationally, all countries want to look into a sustainable future. Many countries are also looking towards Canada for sustainable and renewable types of energy. This will give us as Canadians a chance to step into the future and emerge as one of the global leaders. Global warming is a global issue, and we can only solve it through collective efforts.
So you're probably wondering, who are our competitors? So we have three main competitors. Oh, you've probably heard of Goodyear. So, maybe your friend or your sibling, or you might yourself have Goodyear tires. So yes, they are a good company. But Goodyears are currently trying to do a research into trying to use thermal electricity because a lot of heat is lost in the motion of the tire. So they're trying to use the heat lost in the movement of the tire to then power up its own vehicle. What sets us apart from Goodyear is that, first of all, Goodyear, the price of the tire is going to end up being 4 times more expensive, which is going to draw people away from not wanting to buy the tire. Our system itself only costs to manufacture, it only costs around $110, and we're selling it at a rate of $150. And that is just a system. And when you're looking at how much you're actually generating the profit, it is the start price for the system is you'll be willing to buy it. And then looking at piezoelectric roads, it's you might have heard of it. It's the same system that's being applied in California, and basically it's the same concept of the crystals being compressed, but it's so expensive. I can't explain to you. Like for 1 kilometer road, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars that they have to spend. So again, and also if they only drive on the one road, on the one street, they're going to be generating electricity for the street. So this is more personal because you could be storing the energy straight into your vehicle or into your home. So that's why again, with pricing point of view, that's another one that that sets us apart. And then Tesla, it's not a direct competition because Tesla, they focus more on vehicles that are very expensive. Like all of you guys probably want Teslas. Like who doesn't want Tesla? I mean, they look nice, but Teslas are very expensive. And what sets us apart from Tesla? Again, price point of view, and also that, Tesla, it's only the car, you would have to buy a Tesla to, be sustainable and not spend gas prices. Whereas it doesn't matter what car you have. You can have any car, a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic, or you can have a BMW. It doesn't matter. You can still apply the system to any tire. So it's just the tire. It's not applying the engine.
Okay, so let's take a look at our target audience. So we are basically going to partner with dealerships, car manufacturers, and tire manufacturers to carry out the system, and our users would probably be all drivers. When we asked our target audience, would you switch to Enertire, the majority of them said yes. We hope to increase the number of people who believe in our system by doing brand promotion and beta testing before we actually mass produce.
So key milestones. This is just a quick overview of what we're going to do. So we're basically trying to first create partnerships, then mass produce, then we're trying to go into the international market. And again, a financial projection. First year, we're going to focus on the beta testing, so not really focusing on branding. And as we go international market, we're going to try to we're looking at revenues in the millions.
So, looking at our next steps, we basically have all the research, and now we just want to produce it. So we're going to focus on beta testing and branding, and then ultimately our goal will be international expansion.
So again, let me say this again. Affordable, accessible, sustainable. $505 saved. That's a lot of money. To 4,000 kilowatt hours. That's a lot of energy. This is equal to a sustainable future. It's a total success. So you tell me, is it worth it?
Yeah. A lot of enthusiasm. Great job on the pitching. I'm exhausted, so I don't know how you must feel. Just had a question, wanted to clarify on how you're really using the energy that you generate through the tires. So if, say, I have a Toyota Corolla and I don't have an electric car, what are the steps for me taking that battery source from my car to my home to actually, get my $500 of savings?
So we're trying to plan to implement a power box, or in your homes how at the basement you have that huge panel that controls all the electricity. Yeah, so we're trying to do a power box that connects the system to that. So as soon as you have an outlet, it directly it first takes the energy from this what you generated, and then it starts using the electricity that you actually pay for.
Any idea how long that would take? How often would I need to take that battery out of my car and put it into my home?
Well, currently we're looking into around 4 batteries per car, and each battery can hold 15 kilowatt hours. So 60 kilowatt hours is the maximum that your car can actually hold. And approximately in a day, if you drive 55 kilometers, which is the average, you will only be generating 11 kilowatt hours. So I think you could go for 4 or 5 days without having to remove and extract it.
So it's 150 is what you're going to retail it for. And then what's the installation? Can I use it with any tires? What are the modifications required outside of sort of the home modifications?
Yeah, so that's what we're also planning to like partner up with car manufacturers, so they can actually implement it into the cars itself. So you buy with the car, and since our buying cost is really low, all the installation is really simple because all they do is any tire, doesn't matter what tire. You don't have to buy the tire itself. You just have to buy the system and implement it to any tires.
Hi guys. My question is related to your go-to-market plan. There's a little bit of, I just wanted clarity on your approach. It seems like you really are keen to partner with, it's a B2B approach, right? You're trying to partner with auto companies, but then you also talked a bit about, the home piece because you want to connect with consumers. So I guess I'm interested in a little bit more clarity on that, and as well, just a little bit more detail on the last mile of how you plan on having home energy integrate your product with sort of home energy generation. Do you have any insights on that?
Yeah. So there's two with the insights on the generating from the storage to the power box. So one of our main prototype or ideas that we had was the storage system can be directly inserted into like a sort of power box that has outlets on them, and that outlets that power box right there it's like wireless. You could bring it around, and like maybe for a TV you could bring it, or like a anything you want to use, you just bring it around and then plug it into the outlet that's on the power box itself. And that power box has the storages on there. And then the other question?
Your question about the going to the market. Well, basically we're going to partner with the tire manufacturers, car manufacturers, and dealerships. So basically when they go in for a tire change or something, they have a choice to buy our model, or they can just go to Canadian Tire to purchase our system, and then they can it's very and it's a very easy installation process. And then after they install it, the consumers are the ones that are benefiting from the generated electricity, unlike the piezoelectric roads where the city is benefiting. It's more personal because you are literally able to take out the battery and apply it to your own home use. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Good job.
How are you guys feeling? Some pretty good pitches. So we're going to do one more from BusinessWorks, and then we're going to take a break. So BusinessWorks, come on up.
Check 1, 2.
I'll take the chair.
Yay. Nearly half of Canadians and Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Hi, my name's Alex.
My name's Andy.
And we are BusinessWorks. So what is the problem we're trying to solve? The problem we're trying to solve is that people are not financially literate. Here are a couple more examples. The average student loan debt in Canada is $27,000. The average Canadian owes $22,000 in consumer debt, not including mortgages, so the interest rate is much higher. So how did they try to solve it before? So earlier, if you wanted a financial education, what it took was a lot of information plus a lot of time. Now, the problem with that is that with a lot of information, it can become very overwhelming and confusing. And as well, it would take a lot of time to go through all the information. And currently, we don't have a lot of time with how fast-paced the world is moving now. So if you make a Business 101 graph here, holy shoot, a Business 101 graph of, engagement and conciseness of content, we would have school courses in the bottom left. And school courses, no one likes school courses. They're boring and they're lengthy. They take half a year to go through. Books, they're a little better, but you have to read about 500 to 200 pages to get only a few golden nuggets worth of information. And then there are online courses. Online courses are a step up from books and school courses, but sometimes they just are recorded lectures. And then what we want to do is create a leapfrog product, and this is where we want our solution to be. Our solution is to create a product, to create a platform that provides relevant, concise, engaging content about business, money, and mindset within an interactive community. filled with other like-minded entrepreneurs.
So, target audience. Who here is a young adult interested in business, the mindset for business, and an interactive community with other entrepreneurs? Raise your hand. So everyone here. So therefore, our target audience is everyone here. So you better buy our product.
So our customer evidence. We had 4 main questions we want to ask. The first one is we surveyed a bunch of people if they wanted to work within an interactive group or not. Over 90%, about 90% said they were interested. The second question we asked is, what is your preferred method of consuming content? The 2 majority answers were reading and video. Then the next question was, are people willing to pay for the product? And over 50% said they were. And then finally, we asked, what social media platforms do you guys use? And the reason we asked this question is so that we know where the target market engagement or attention is at.
So value proposition. What can we give you? So why would you buy our product? We're giving you 3 things: content, community, and experience. So our content is concise and engaging while also being relevant at the same time. And this would be within a community that's interactive, supportive with other like-minded users and professional entrepreneurs like the adults in this building. So in our product, we'll also provide an experience personalized for you. We do this because our target audience is you guys, and we're not trying to appeal to everybody like adults. Content. So what type of content will we have in our product? We'll be teaching courses like business, mindset, and money. And from our survey, we found out that users like to learn through videos and reading. And therefore, our medium of teaching would be through videos, podcasts, interviews, and transcripts of videos.
And now we have 3 tiers of products. Based on what Andy just said, we broke it down into 3 tiers of products. The first is to create a free product for customer attraction. Then we'd have an email subscription content. And then we created our paid premium content plus interactive community. And all these together create a process. And what we do is we take our customer on a journey between, we start them off, they're a free consumer. Then we move them up. We move them through the process to an email subscription, and then we move them to a paid customer. And each step requires a different levels of commitment. And for the business model, we broke it down into 2 main parts. The first is our sales channels. What we want to create is an online branded platform, website, or app. And the second part is our selling proposition. And what we really want to focus on is selling positioning ourselves as an investment and not an expense. And this is basically a summary of what we would take our customer through. This is like our revenue chain. First, what we do is we attract the customer. Once we get their attention, what we want to do is inform them. Once we've informed them about our solution, we give them the offer and make a sell.
Okay, so let's look at how we will be generating revenue. So from our calculations, we would have 200,000 people that are interested in our product. 5% would be part of our free content product. 2.5% would be part of our email subscription product, and 0.5% would be part of our paid version product. So if 0.5% would be 1,000 people, and if we decide to charge $15 a month for our product, we'll be generating $15,000 monthly and equaling $180,000 annually revenue for our. Next steps. Okay, so how are we gonna attract new users into our product? So as our product develops, we will have an increasing content database in our community and in our product. And by building trustworthiness with our users, hope you guys trust us, we will be able to successfully build a brand, and future users will not only buy our product, but our brand as well. And we won't get it right on the first try, so we'll have to make adjustments. And we'll make adjustments by getting user feedback. And there's always the possibility of implementing new ideas such as online webinars with entrepreneurs or special one-time programs.
In conclusion, our strategy to solve this problem is to create an online platform that provides relevant, concise, engaging content based on business, money, and mindset within a platform full of other like-minded entrepreneurs. We're Business Works. Thank you for your attention.
Hi guys, thanks for sharing this. I mean, personally, I'm a subscriber of several premium content things on the internet, a wide range. So I think there's definitely a market there, and I hope you guys are successful as one of those ones that are sticky. My question is actually related to a comment that you made earlier. Is that you, as the first mile, it touches on the first mile of your product, which is you hope that we trust you. You hope that we trust you enough to give you our first round of attention and hopefully stick around and be a customer.
Yes.
How do you plan on tackling that very specific problem?
Okay. Well, basically, in our business plan, we have 3 main sections. We have the free content, and there, what we want to do is provide our best value up front. Show the customer we're worth listening to, and that's really the main point, because if we can't get their attention right out of the door, we can't even get through the system into where they'll be a paid customer. So we really need to deliver high value content for free. And that's where we also have the email subscription as part of our plan, so that it's designed as a process. So we're taking the customer on a journey, and each step requires a little bit more actions to be taken on their part. So I hope that answers your question.
Factor. So the question is, content's hard to develop, it's hard to make it engaging, requires a lot of resources and time. So how do you, and that's your value proposition, what are your resources, what are you putting into it? You're busy with school, etc. So how do you develop all that content and source it?
Well, our plan is to outsource, like we would first develop our, I guess you'd say curriculum or what we'd like to teach. Then we would outsource it to have other people create the content for us. But what we're doing is really finding the information. And with that information, we just hand it off to our outsourced creators and they'll create it. And yes, I do agree with you. Content it's a huge part of the business, but what we also want to focus on is the interactive community.
I love the investment as an investment, not an expense positioning. I think that makes a lot of sense. So good job on that. The conversion funnel actually made a lot of sense too. I was wondering, what's your benchmark there? Where did you get that from?
Great.
The 200,000 people.
No, but like the number, like the 0.5% at the bottom of the funnel. Did you just kind of make that up, or did you look at an industry benchmark, or?
Oh, the 0.5% came from the 200,000 people. So 0.5% of 200,000 is 1,000.
Well, we picked that number just because it was very even if we only get that many people into the paid group, we just wanted to show that this is a very profitable, it can generate a substantial amount of revenue based on
that makes sense.
So we're going to take a 10-minute break. The good news is we got junk food because that's what we do here at Y2. So take 10 minutes. I'll call you guys back in probably 8 minutes, and then we'll do the 2-minute migration. You guys excited? That wasn't bad. We have 3 more presentations. Thermal Beat is up, and please give them your attention. Let's give these guys a hand.
They don't have a no, they don't have a job. Is there a judge? Yeah.
Speed tracker. She's probably at Starbucks.
Yeah, just.
Tell us a joke.
What do you call a fish without an eye? Fish.
Thanks, man. All right, Matt, your whole pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Just in time. I'm so going to get it the next rotation meeting. All right, guys.
Always ready.
Imagine that you're a new parent who just welcomed a baby girl into the world. You should be elated, filled with joy that your new precious package is here. But instead, 5 days later, you have to rush your daughter into surgery to install a pacemaker to regulate her heartbeat. This surgery is essential to her life. They should be celebrating, but instead, her parents are terrified at the prospect of losing their daughter only 5 days in. This is the story of Tymeisha Sloan and her family. Tymeisha is anticipated to have at least 10 more surgeries in her lifetime to simply replace her pacemaker battery. This is the status quo of the world that we live in. Countless numbers of people have excessive numbers of surgery simply to replace their pacemaker battery every 5 to 7 years. This is unnecessary. Enter ThermoBeats. We have a solution to reduce the number of surgeries that are required to replace your battery. Instead, we use heat energy generated by the body in order to power this pacemaker, so it only requires one initial implementation surgery.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Steven. I'm William.
I'm Emily.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Shafiq. And let's get into it. There's been a 56% increase in the pacemaker industry in the past decade, but there hasn't been any substantial technology to support that backing. So we developed ThermoBeat to help the millions of people or loved ones who have pacemakers in their lives. Millions of people, I'm telling you.
How many millions, Steven?
Well, that's a great question, Ryan. 3 million to be exact. 3 million people have pacemakers that need to be replaced every 5 years. They're living on timers, living on countdown, dreading the time they have to return to the operating table to have their pacemaker battery replaced. With 600,000 new pacemakers installed in human beings every year, we need a permanent solution for this pacemaker problem more urgently than ever before.
So currently, pacemaker batteries need to be surgically replaced every 5 to 7 years. Consider the millions of people around the world who have pacemakers. How do you think this is going to affect them? As patients get older, their risk of surgical complications, death, and the length of time it takes for them to recover increases exponentially. By removing the need for these surgeries, we can improve these patients' lives drastically. Not everyone is as lucky as we are to live in Canada. A lot of people around the world have to pay for their health care. Pacemaker procedures to replace the batteries are extremely expensive and often cost upwards of $10,000 per operation. Also, while these patients are recovering, they can't work, and so they can't provide for any dependents who might rely on them. So by removing the financial burden and stress on these patients, we can also better their lives. Recognize that pacemaker patients aren't alone in their struggle to better health. They are accompanied and supported by their families. We think it's a very natural reaction for families to fret and agonize over the care of their loved ones. And so by removing the need for these surgeries again, we can remove the emotional burden that is placed on these pacemaker patients.
When we reached out to countless users of actual pacemakers, we were able to describe the 3 main needs that we needed to address. For example, one anonymous respondent had discussed the emotional trauma that their family faced when his grandpa was in the hospital. Note that this boy did not have any clue whether or not he would ever see his grandfather again. In addition to this, we reached out to an executive at Independent Health, a leading health insurer in the Western New York area, to see what his thoughts were on the financial aspects of the insurance companies. He thought that it would be a great way to welcome innovation to reduce the financial obligation of the insurance companies in places like the US. We also reached out to medical professionals, and they touched on some of the emotional and medical aspects that their pacemaker users were dealing with.
So before I go into
quick technical overview of how ThermoBeat works. For those of you who are unfamiliar, a pacemaker is a device that is implanted inside your body that has 2 wires connecting into your heart. It, 1, monitors your heart rate, and 2, sends tiny electrical impulses to your heart to make sure that it beats at a consistent rhythm. So, as you already may have realized, the crux of our problem lies in the fact that you have to get a surgically intensive procedure to replace your pacemaker battery every 5 to 7 years. As patients get older and as they get a repeated number of surgeries in that one area, their time to recover and their pain increases exponentially. So, how do we solve this problem? Simply put, we rely on the body. We use the body's own thermal energy to power a thermoelectric generator which charges the batteries of the pacemaker, which in turn powers the user's heart. So since ThermoBeat does not require any external energy source, the pacemaker can be powered indefinitely with no battery replacement needed. Thus, no surgeries, no pain, no stress is required. So right now, I want to jump into a quick demo of the thermoelectric generator. We have one right over here, and I guess we'll just hook it up right in front of the judges so they can see. I have a voltmeter over here to measure how much power this can put out. And we are not attaching this to our hearts. We are just making that smaller and attaching it. So Shafiq, can you hold that for a second? I'm going to need to put the mic down for this. But I'm going to put my hand, on it. And I'm only going to put it on one side. So as you can see, as soon as I put my hand on it, as soon as it gets the heat of my hand, you can see that the voltmeter starts counting up. That's the electricity, that's the current being generated. It's currently, that's currently at 7 volts, which is quite a lot. And currently, pacemakers use about 2.4 volts. So when we put in that voltage converter, and we can size this down, clearly there's sufficient energy being created by the thermal generator to power the pacemaker. Keep in mind that a pacemaker is in the user's body, which is 30-something degrees 24/7. So I have no concern that a generator like this could be powering a pacemaker for the lifetime of the user.
All right. So our value proposition is to allow ThermoBeat users to improve their health and peace of mind, and also reduce stress, which is caused by repetitive surgeries. With regards to customer relationships, we want patients to be able to relay their experience with the pacemaker to their doctors. In the future, we also want to develop an app which will allow patients and families to be able to monitor their own health and alert medical professionals if there's ever a problem with the device. As well, we will anonymously collect data so as to improve our pacemaker in the future. So this product makes perfect sense to us, and for biological and economical reasons for people under the age of 70, as they are going to require several more surgeries in their lifetime. So pacemakers have changed very little in the past 50 years. In fact, more than 90% of pacemakers use lithium iodide batteries, and they only last 5 to 7 years. Recently, there was an innovation called the micro pacemaker, but these still only last 12.5 years. Our solution offers unlimited battery life. So if we just quickly look at our future development timeline, we can see that we aim to complete our prototype and app by the first quarter of 2018. From there, we want to acquire all our resources and start designing our first version and also in the second quarter of 2018. And then we want to complete our version, obtain a patent, begin clinical trials, and gain all our money by 2019. And then we want this in patients by 2022.
Thank you. Okay, in order to bring our idea to full fruition, we'll have to have lots of help from industry mentors. We need connections from experienced people in the biomedical field, such as Biomedical Zone, and also people like Mars to help us through our startup journey. And also the approval process is not easy either. We'll have to go through Health Canada and the FDA to get our pacemaker to market.
Yeah, so that's it for ThermoBeat. If you have any questions, feel free to answer them now.
Love the name. It's a great name.
Thanks.
And a great idea. Got 2 questions, quick ones. Seems like a great idea. Why has no one done this before?
well, really, the technology hasn't been there yet. Only recently have thermoelectric generators been working in a small enough factor with Indiegogo projects like PowerWatch, where it's powered by the thermal energy on your watch. And just the 5 monopolies that hold the pacemaker industry by its hair, really, they don't want to have innovation because they're making money already. There's no reason to change that.
That's just a door. Second question. Is the battery tech good enough for this now? The charge is one thing, but over time, the efficacy of a battery deteriorates, hence why your phone, after 2 years of having it, just doesn't really hold a charge anymore. Are you still going to need replacements in the future? Elaborate on that a bit.
We imagine that the surgeries that come after the implementation of the pacemaker are going to be relatively few and far in between because with our implementation, it's kind of like a consistent charge, right? Like, that saying about how like batteries last the longest when they're between like 40 and 80%. Yeah, we can like kind of continue charging the battery until it hits 80% and then let it like drain and then we charge it again. Like since it's a continuous charge, we're going to try our best to try to maintain the life of the battery. Once we actually get the battery tech and once we finalize the prototype, we have a more reliable estimate on how often we're going to actually have that battery replaced, even if we do all we can to try to like remedy that situation.
So 2 questions. 1, there's no competitors out there right now doing this?
There's no innovation in the field.
Okay. And then 2, what does it involve to go through the regulatory process for the clinical trials, the FDA and so on? Because my understanding is there's a number of hurdles involved in that process.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah. So there are quite a number of regulatory processes. Because it is an implemented device, it is the highest level of FDA approval. So we have to be a level 4. Of course, you have to go through clinical trials after you have a version 1 that is conducive to what you're trying to do. And then in addition to that, you have years of just regulation. So it is vast, but it is able to be tackled because it has been tackled before.
So just to get started, we looked into this over the past week. And on Canada.ca, there's a convenient form that you can fill out if you actually want to apply for this approval process. And they say it takes like about 1 to 2 months for the government of Canada to completely review your device, review where it's going to be used, review how much it's going to be cost. They're going to send you like a feedback form with can you clarify this? Can you clarify this? I imagine like this back and forth communication would go on for several months until they actually approve it and get it into labs for clinical trials.
And my question is related to the intellectual property around your development. Thanks for answering the R&D question earlier that Jez had, but is that part of the plan to protect this product, the thermoelectric generator for the purpose of perpetuating pacemakers? And the second part of that question is what's stopping somebody, a current market leader like Boston Scientific, to say, I'm going to develop this in-house and take you guys out?
So I researched the patents and the intellectual property in the United States, and there's no current technology that has all aspects of what we're trying to do. Of course, there are other thermoelectric generated things like the smartwatch that is heat generated. However, there's none exactly like this. Part of that is because, as Stephen mentioned before, the monopoly of the pacemaker industry. So when innovation arises, it is quite quickly squashed or bought out. So it can be killed because of how sound the companies are doing. So there is some challenge with that some people just aren't quite ready to tackle.
Is there also a big... Oh.
Thanks, guys. So one thing, if you guys want the connections to some of the incubators, send me an email with your specific request. A few of us have contacts in the medtech field. So we can always take your email, and it's up to you guys, right? So we'll leave it in the ball's in your court. Send me an email that I can forward and a few of us can forward and see if you want that contact. If you can list the specific questions you have, that'd be very helpful. So ball's in your court. Thank you. Open Park.
Thank you.
I'm Abby.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Open Park. All right, so who here has experienced firsthand or knows somebody who's been through the process, the time-consuming process of finding parking in a really busy city? Yeah, that's quite a bit of us.
So we created a solution to a problem that happens every day. OpenPark is an app that finds open parking spaces near your desired destination. As well, it gives you direct GPS directions to the parking space.
So what makes us special is we plan to implement technology that will give our customers real-time updates on the availability of parking spaces.
As well, our system will partner with already existing navigation technologies. Therefore, you won't have another third-party navigation system on your phone. As you see here, Uber and Lyft already use these kinds of techniques on Google Maps. We hope someday OpenPark will have the same technologies. As well, the hands-free navigation results in safe driving.
As far as customers go, we plan on having our product available to customers like me and you who experience the struggle of trying to find parking in busy cities. And we'd also plan to sell to businesses, so organizations such as Green P and local parking garages. We'd offer them the service of directing customers to their parking spaces as long as the customer's final destination is in the vicinity of their parking area. So these numbers seem pretty significant, right? Abby will tell you what they mean.
All right. Well, in a recent survey we conducted, 83% of people said they would utilize OpenPark. In addition, 37% of people said they would upgrade to a premium version, which offered extra services.
So as far as our revenue model, one of the revenue models would be the business-to-business sales. So partnering with the local parking garages, Green P Parking in Toronto.
As well, we also have the premium upgrade for OpenPark. The free version would just offer basic directions to a parking space, but a premium version for an upgrade of $4.99 would offer the price of parking, how long you can pay there, as well there would be no advertisements in your service.
So we would also incorporate advertisements as well. So how it would work, we'd advertise restaurants, car shops, entertainment, and hotels within the same vicinity of your final destination.
Our key partnerships would have to be with Google and Apple Maps, as well as Waze and local parking businesses.
So to take our idea to bring our idea to reality, we need to do more research on the technology side. So far, we've researched satellite, radar, and motion sensor technology. And as far as human resources go, we need developers to develop the app, and as well as some mentors to guide us along the way.
Thank you for your time, and we know that with OpenPark, you would never search for a space again.
So with regards to the open spaces, initially then, is it that the lots would install special sensors that would feed into your app? Is that the way that you would sense them?
So we're still looking into the technology and researching it. Mm-hmm. The most effective and fastest way would be satellite, but satellite is very expensive. And if you were to implement this in parking garages, satellite can't go through the different levels. So you'd have to install either motion sensors or radar technology. And then that would go directly to the app and lead you to an open space.
Yeah, who are some key partners? Can you just reiterate folks that you want to work with to sort of expand and go to market on this?
Yeah, so for the business partners, we'd partner with like local parking garages, so the ones that you see on the street, and they would tell us their availability of the parking spots available, and that would go into the app. So when you're searching for spots, you'd see what's available live and right now. And as far as Google Maps goes and Apple Maps, so for example, what Abby kind of mentioned, if I'm searching to go to Union Station from the DMZ right now and I type it in Google Maps and I type in transportation option, or how it would work is we type in the directions to drive there, and then right as you're approaching your destination, it would show you the nearest parking to your destination through Google Maps, right? So it's already in your phone.
Is there a current competition with this product right now?
So there are other parking apps, but they just show you where the parking lots are and where you could drive to them and where they are near. They don't show you if there are open spaces available.
Okay, makes sense. And it seems to me that if you went the sensor route, it might be expensive to update a whole parking lot, a whole parking garage with sensors. Do you have any idea of the cost structure on that?
Yeah, we haven't done that research yet.
Yeah, that's still to develop.
Is there perhaps a way to reverse engineer this where you work with something like Cadillac Fairview and you do the most populated malls, install it there, pay for some of the development that way, and it becomes a value add because you actually know where you're going to park at Yorkdale, which is a zoo unto itself, and then roll it out after that, after you've had the chance to build it on their dime?
Yeah, we know at certain malls, like when you go to certain malls, you'd see like there would be a directory of parking and it'd say, oh, there's parking available in this lot and in that lot, and it would kind of direct you. So I feel like we could utilize that technology too and partner with like those companies, and it would just make it easier for both of us.
And Go stations as well. A lot of Go stations have that as well.
Okay, your campus. You're next.
As usual, switch it over. If you won't be so if you don't use a mic, you won't be picked up. If you don't use a mic, the camera won't record you.
Okay, who's second?
Okay, which order were we in?
I'll do it.
No, I'm so nervous.
And this is the last presentation of the day.
Do we change the slides from there? Where?
I gave this.
Oh, okay. We good.
It's good. All right.
Apprehensiveness, skeptical, uncertain, and nervousness. These emotions, these feelings, are what grade 12s or late grade 11s go through each and every year. Now, who here sucks at making applications? Yeah, I think we can all guarantee that most of us, well, my grade 11 and 12, we're pretty inexperienced. There's no sites or resources or books that can try and help us make it perfect, make it excellent, make it fit the criteria in which universities want to look at. For me, it took a long time. I was trying to find a university, something that's perfect for me. And then days passed by, weeks passed by, months. And then something clicked in my head. Ding, a big yellow light bulb. George Brown College. And then I sent in my application. Weeks, months go by, haven't heard a thing from them. And then I hear from my friends during spring. Hey, look, I got into Western. Hey, look, I got into U of T, Waterloo, and Ryerson University. Me, I still haven't gotten anything back. I'm worried. I'm uncertain. But then, a few days later, open up the mail. And then open up the letter and read my message. You've been accepted to George Brown College. That day was the best day of my life. But then, I thought to myself, what if there was something that could possibly relieve all these negative, derogatory emotions? Something that could, just give me a less stressful life. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gents, because today, we will be presenting your campus.
So, throughout my 4 years in high school, I've seen grade 12s and late grade 11s come across many problems that cause a lot of stress. For example, they have to go through so many websites and so much information to find their career path. And throughout this process, a lot of times they miss out on a lot of information. And there's lack of opportunity to connect with other students that are in the same situations as them, going into the same programs and universities as them, so they feel alone. And there's biased information on the websites. For example, if you go onto the U of T website, Of course, they're not going to say anything bad about themselves. It's only the positive side of the story. So people walk into something not knowing exactly what's going to happen to them. So your campus will decrease dropout rates. Like, come on, do you want to waste a few $1,000s? No, you don't. There's going to be a higher success rate for applications, and it's going to motivate students to go into post-secondary and be successful.
There are many solutions to these problems, such as our website will gather information from multiple universities and colleges and bring them into one, so no one will miss any information by not searching a certain college or certain university. Also, our information will not be biased. We'll have good and bad points. And who here thinks that universities only show biased information? So by this, we also have group chats, so people with good and bad experiences, they can share it with people and tell them their experiences.
For our products, we conducted a survey and 100 students have answered these. So first of all, it's very time consuming because the majority of them take from 1 to 3 hours to even research what the information that they need for university. And the second one shows that 24 people don't even know what programs they want to be in. Like, for example, if you guys are in grade 11 and maybe you guys don't have the application deadline close up to you guys, so you guys have more time. So you guys don't even know what programs you guys want. So your campus will provide information that is narrowed down to help you guys make the right decision for your future. And then for the last one, I realized from all the information that we got from the students that the main problem in these websites is that there's an overwhelming amount of information that you guys might not sure if you guys need it or not. So your campus will narrow it down and help you guys figure that out for a better future.
So who's used either eInfo, university websites, or OUAC in general? Any website right. So I think we can all agree that sometimes they can be a bit confusing at times, right? So what we've done is we found 3 main criteria that we feel all people applying to university or colleges should know and have a good understanding of. Personalization, what courses and other hobbies like that, what universities you want to go to in general, like Canada-wide, and most importantly, unbiased info. As you can see, your campus, we stand out. We take your personalization from up here. We go to the general questions, get to know you, who you are, what you like. We bring it down, personalize it for you, the student. Canada-wide. Right now, we're starting off in Ontario, Toronto. We're going to expand to Canada and hopefully throughout internationally. Unbiased info. We don't, unlike university websites, they show all the good stuff, as Yasmin explained. We take real students' lives in the university and colleges, and we show you the real facts students actually care about, because it's your future. It's not just some come to our university. We want you to know and get the real hard facts.
So here we have the homepage, which is what you get after you do the simple sign-up process. Here we have the list of schools where you just click on to find the information. And after the sign-up process, we go into the personalization factor, where we ask you questions based on whether you want to move out or you want to stay in your city, what hobbies you like, and what interests you, so that we can personalize the programs as well as the campus. So the revenue. We're going to be advertising campus and off-campus residency options for students, the cafes and bookstores, as well as attractions and events that will be happening off-campus as well as on-campus. The website will be free to use for high school students as well as existing university students. So some of the future plans that we have is to make your campus chat rooms where you can chat with anyone and anywhere from Canada and talk to them about your program or just any information that you want to know, as well as going from Ontario-based to Canada and hopefully international.
I'm not a grade 12 student, so I don't have this pain point right now, but I also went through a similar problem when I was applying for uni. Question about more of a clarification on a couple points here. So I mean, the kind of the main value proposition is students trying to understand, if the courses they've applied to at the schools they've applied to are good, and they want unbiased feedback from, and this where I'm requiring clarification, from existing students or other people applying. And if so, if it is the existing students, how are you going to incentivize those students to actually come on the platform and help these people with unbiased reviews?
Okay, so the incentive part, we're going to be sponsored by companies such as Amazon, which sell university books, which is like a huge problem for university students, as well as things around the campus, like little grocery stores or whatever's around. And so those companies will give either a coupon or a sale or whatever to people who do provide answers or their stories to the website. But all the information is not going to be from the students. It's going to be hard facts from the websites that we will collect.
So with regards to your advertising model, so you're talking about cafes and events. So they're advertising to the prospective students who haven't yet been accepted an event or a cafe at a university that may or may not accept them? Or was that advertising to existing students who are then incentivized to provide the information?
It's mostly for both, but a lot of the advertisements are going to be towards university students, so they would come in and help us and provide their knowledge for the group chats. Yeah.
And to add on to that, if you know that there's certain things around your campus that might want you to go to that school even more. So if you have a dietary restriction or something, and there's a lot of places around the campus that will suit that, then I think that will be a huge factor in deciding which school.
I think you guys did a good job creating a solution based on a problem that you are all close to. So not only are you solving it for yourselves, but solving it for your peers. And I think that is going to get you a lot of goodwill and help you get off the ground. My question is related to sort of your value proposition of having curated, unbiased content on your site, correct? And if that's the case, how do you have plans to automate that process, or how are you curating it other than having folks behind the screens, rating this whatever content is available? What is your plan to curate that?
So one thing that we're going to be making sure of is that we're not going to be taking sponsorships from schools. So we will never be paid to say anything. And as we're starting out our company, we can kind of manage that, what comes into the site. But as we get bigger, we will definitely develop our team.
And one thing universities do not add into their website is their cutoff mark. For example, I was at Ryerson yesterday and they said for retail management, you need 60s to 70s. But they told me their cutoff mark was an 80, but they don't say that on the website. And not everyone has the opportunity to go to those fairs, especially if they come from outside of Toronto even. Not everyone has the opportunity to come to these fairs to know these information. Thank you.
I know that was tough. Well done.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is you guys get to go, I'm done. For this, anyway. Well, you could leave, except then you won't know who the top two teams are. So what I'm going to ask is Sam will work with the judges for them to go and discuss, probably make a very difficult decision. But in the meantime, the rest of you are welcome to mix, mingle. We'll probably take about 30 minutes, and then the judges will come back. They will share their thoughts, and then we'll wrap. Sound good? This is what's standing between this and the stomach and food. So I'd like to invite Tyler, Jess, and Christy to come up to share some comments.
Hey, everyone. First of all, amazing pitching. Everyone, I'm going to make some general comments on just generalized pitching, how everyone did, how everyone thought about their businesses, and how to convey the information. First and foremost, the enthusiasm is amazing. If you can go into pitches with that kind of energy and gusto, really shows you care about what you're doing. And when an investor invests in your business, they're really investing in you. the business model has to make sense. But there's a lot of people out there doing the same thing as you probably, and you have to compete with them. So when an investor looks at you, they're really looking at you and the team to make sure you have the right dynamic, the right passion, and can really get through the downfalls. Because there's always pitfalls in business, always controversy. You're going to have to really drive through it. So, yeah, some more comments about the pitches. A little bit of a lack of focus on acquiring customers and retaining them. So, my business, we're e-commerce, direct to consumer. We have to pay to acquire a customer. Then we have to figure out how to retain them to make them come back to purchase more. So with our business, we had to raise capital to do that. We've raised just under $4 million to date. And that's the kind of capital that has really allowed us to ramp up and scale and, return to 3x that, kind of capital and revenue. And so the kind of key metrics we focus on as a business is cost to acquire a customer, cost to retain a customer, which is your lifetime value of the customer. And so when you're pitching again in the future and thinking about your business models, those are really the key metrics that the investors are going to hammer home. They're really going to hammer home and hone in on those metrics. And if you don't have them, you're not prepared to really talk to them, you're going to get crushed. So that's just a point to note for future pitching. And when you're thinking about businesses in the future, that cost to acquire and lifetime value are like the two key metrics you're going to have to focus on. In most businesses, some are a bit different, but anything consumer focused, you're going to have that problem. So, sorry, the what? Am I announcing the winners? Oh, yes. Oh, okay. So we've made a little change to how we're presenting the winners. We're still doing the two winners, but just because of that, there being so many good pitches, it was really hard to choose the two winners. So we're giving two follow-up winners and kind of like a runner-up gift, and that's going to be sitting in on a York Angels investment pitch day. So you said they have like 4 or 5 pitches in one of the sessions?
So York Angels is a group of accredited investors. We're hitting just 90 investors now, and we have an average of about 120 people at our events. You may have met some of our members. You may recognize this guy over here. He's a member. Frank, Gary Inanen. There were several others that were in and around through the process. What we'd like to do is invite you to come up and sit in on an afternoon of pitches, working around your school schedule. So we'll meter it out, but we do them once a month. And what you'll get to see is 4 or 5 pitches of people actually asking for money. And you also have the opportunity to meet angel investors and understand the process. And we offer this for companies before they come in and get ready to pitch, because it's really valuable to see the angel investing perspective. Once the company leaves the room, the angels have a very candid discussion. So you're going to get insights on what they liked about the presentations, what they didn't. And this will help you shape yours as you go forward, because whether it's this version of the company or in 2 years, you're going to be going for it at some point, because you've all shown that entrepreneurial spirit. And this will give you an idea of how to start positioning yourself and putting it together. So we'll work on the logistics with Lucas and getting people connected. But we thought this would be a great opportunity. So it's a runner-up prize because there were so many good pitches. So there's 2 pitches, 3 and 4, or 3 and 3. We wanted to offer this to, and also to 1 and 2 as well. I think it's important. All of you guys are sort of moving forward very quickly, and it'll be a great opportunity for the top 4 to come.
Shall we announce the winners? Okay, so the 2 winners for the Y2 entrepreneurship competition are, they are Powering Up and Blue Horizon. Please come on up and receive your prizes, guys.
Pictures, all the good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, there should be hugs and pictures. Congratulations. Congratulations. We'll do it as a receiving line from now on.
I like the quote about big things to God.
About packages, absolutely.
That was good.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations. Can we do a little group photo here? Yeah, Lucas, do you want a group photo before we go into the
let's do a photo.
Group photo. Okay, pretty small. Small folks. I like to hear it.
Oh, where's the photographer? Oh, yeah. We're just like.
Where are you looking? Who's the photo?
This way. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Get a big camera. Yeah, 1, 2, 1,
Okay, one more applause for the winners of 2017 Y2 Entrepreneurship Competition.
So when I was in the bathroom, I met several entrepreneurs and they were saying, wow, was it hard? Absolutely it was hard because we were dealing with apples, oranges, cherries. Like your business models were so different, the stages you were at were so different, but all the presentations were really strong in different aspects. And when we were in the judging room trying to sort of narrow it down, getting to 2 was just impossible. And we're sort of good Canadians and didn't want to necessarily, be so hardcore. So we've gone for offering the runners up because they had really interesting plans as well. So we'd like to offer, drum roll please, ThermoBeats and Business Works. We'd like to offer you the opportunity to come to the angel investing event and sort of get some feedback as well.
You guys will also be attending. You'll have the opportunity to attend these as well as the winners. Yeah. And you guys will also have the opportunity to attend these as well. So I'm going to do the 4 winners. They get it as well. So.
Nobody's going to know it's all good. Get in behind. It's all good. Thank you. Do we want?
Congrats.
Thank you. Squish on in, folks. We'll do one quick photo.
Yeah, it's a big team. Congrats, dude. Congrats. Oh, this is going to be a big photo.
Yep.
I'll just sit at the back.
Okay.
Thank you, judges. Okay, so hope you guys had fun. And you guys might have learned a few things. So I got kind of, like I said earlier, it's been a very long 8 days, counting last Saturday. So I'm going to try to wrap this up and try to tie a little bit of a bow around it. First of all, none of this would have been possible without our sponsors. They believe, I told you guys this last week, they believe in you. That's why they kicked in a bunch of money and a bunch of effort and in-kind support. So they help make this possible. So in general, I say thank you to our sponsors. So a hand, please. The other is I'm going to call out Vitalese. So that's Frank. It's Frank's company. Frank paid for all the USBs that you guys got. He decided out of his pocket he believes in you guys, and he paid for all the USBs. Thank you, Frank. So you talk about community. Real quick, Frank is one of the co-leads of something called Startup Durham Region, building a community of entrepreneurs in kind of the Oshawa, Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Peterborough, etc. area. So he absolutely gives his time for fun to build the community. So you're a good man. Earlier on, I showed you if it takes a village to raise an entrepreneur. You saw the organizations on the previous slide. These are the individuals who've given up their time. Some of them this afternoon, some of them last week. Many of them throughout the entire week because they believe in you guys. They have given up, time with family, et cetera, et cetera. Not that's a bad thing. It's a good thing. They wanted to be here with you. So thank you to the coaches, the facilitators, the judges, the mentors, the speakers, and for the 2 teams, the prizes. Thank you. This also wouldn't be possible with those who came to help with the event. So being here to, kind of do the little things like timekeeping, making sure the food is ready. These are the little details that make or break a conference. If the food is everywhere, if things aren't filled out, if social media is not done, it takes a little bit away from your experience. It's always been about you guys. So these guys, whether it be Y2, whether it be Sage, whether it be just believers, they have pitched in time to make this happen. There's like a selfie happening over here. We're done. I'm so happy. And then there's the planning team. So some of these guys you may not have seen because people like Moose and Sam and Diane and Susie were doing stuff remotely. And David and Nafis have been absolutely fantastic partners to work with. So they're like gossiping. So David, Nafis, thank you. We're talking about how we'll never work with this guy again. So a couple more things. Y2 stands for Youth for Youth. We were created to give you guys an opportunity to learn about entrepreneurship, not from an adult's perspective, because we're old, but we wanted to inject... I said we, I didn't say you. Some internalization happening here. So the spirit was of the 5 co-founders of Y2, 4 were in high school when this thing started in May 2015. In the spirit of giving back to youth, all extra food last week and again today are donated to a youth shelter based in Richmond Hill, 360 kids. No food gets wasted, and we make sure we give it back to children. So what's next? So Janice, get ready for this. So what's next? You heard about Summer Company. You could take your ideas and you could go, Brian was talking about that $3,000 grant at the beginning of the day. Hey, you just pitched your idea. What if you saved that pitch and applied for a Summer Company? Speaking of pitch, what if you made your pitch? OC has a Make Your Pitch competition in the spring. There have been several winners coming out of the Sage Y2 ecosystem. Samantha's right there. Mula won this year. So if you want to know what happened, talk to Sam. Her team applied, submitted their video pitch, 2 minutes, got people to vote, and they went up on stage at OC Discovery in May, I believe, and were named one of the 6 teams that won OC Make Your Pitch this year. Congratulations, by the way. This just in, Monxiong, which is a not-for-profit kind of focus on the Chinese community, has extended, I didn't know this until like 2 weeks ago. They had a small business competition, and they extended it, not because of us, but they just extended it, to the end of this month. So if you're curious, we'll send out the links afterwards for all this stuff. But if you are curious, you could take the very idea you just pitched, and you could reuse it, because, hey, recycle, reuse, why not? And if you like pitches, Jess talked about the York Angels, so research that, research angel investors, because that could be a forum, at least for, several of the teams. You'll have an opportunity to come and take a look. But if you like pitches, if you thought this was kind of fun, if you want to watch other people pitch and legitimately pitch for money and see how they do, I recommend to you something called Pitch It. So Pitch It was founded in September 2016. The problem statement was that there were companies that were going for funding, and they would show up and be like, I'm going to do my pitch and this and problem statement and idea, and they'd walk away going, wow, I did a fantastic job. The angel loved me, and the angel's like, we hated him. And the poor guy, the founder, has no idea. So somebody named Jeffrey Potvin, and Brian is actually part of that organization. Brian records all of these pitches, and in doing so, 2 things happen. One is startups, founders who are actively seeking money get to practice their pitch in front of angel investors who have left their checkbooks at home. So they can make mistakes. They get honest feedback. Why? To strengthen them so that they are successful next time. So if you want to see these pitches in action, take a look for Pitch It TO on the OPN website. I will send it out to you. There are links to YouTube, which have Brian's videos. So you can take a look and see that what you guys did here today is what grown-ups do and founders do to ask for money. So if you like that kind of stuff, it's available to you. And another option for you, Janice is going to speak to Sage Ryerson because it's a very good opportunity for you guys. Janice?
Hi, everyone. So first off, can we get a big round of applause for everyone who pitched today? So whether you plan on going forward with your business ideas or not, hopefully you got something valuable out of Y2 these past 2 weekends. But with that being said, if you do want to continue building on what you created this weekend and last weekend, I encourage you guys to apply for our Sage Ryerson program. Hopefully you can see that. So at Sage Ryerson, we'll pair you up with a mentor. We have a team of startup consultants who will work with you to continue building these different skills and aspects of your business. We'll also invite you to different workshops and conferences that are designed to help you continue growing the business and just working on things that you want to see happen. And you can also learn more about our Sage Canada national competition in May, where the top 2 teams will actually go on to the World Cup to represent Canada. So like Spitstrips did and Candy Cutler did in Ukraine earlier this year. We'll be taking approximately 12 teams, and the applications close 1 week from today. So I'll be around if you have any questions, and the link is up here. Yep. Do you have a question? Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be specifically based on the environment, but we do hope that your business has some sort of social impact involved. But if not, that's fine as well. Yeah, exactly. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Janice. So, almost done. So what if your interest isn't continuing the business? Maybe you want to take the skills you've learned around design thinking, customer validation, and pitch presentations, etc., public speaking. Maybe you want to help the community. There are causes to change the world. If you're a teenager, you're in high school, there are options. Whether you want to help teens learn, younger girls learn STEM, you could probably help with that. If you want to do stuff around, additional innovation, maybe you're not thinking you want to start a business, the Knowledge Society is an option. You could join if you want to meet like-minded teens. Organizations like the Toronto Youth Network, they're doing some cool stuff. If you're looking for arts, this used to be known as Creativity Through Arts, Platform for Youth Creativity, PYC. They bring together teens who are interested in arts in general, performing arts or visual or what have you. Project 5K, go and make a difference in the community. You could apply your design thinking. Pick a problem that bugs you and maybe you don't want to monetize it, but you can understand who the problem affects. If you want to improve volunteering opportunities, you could look at where people are struggling. You could take everything you learned last weekend and today and apply it to a social community cause. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a business. You're kind of an entrepreneur anyway, but there are options. So consider that. So a couple of final thoughts. It's one thing to have the hard skills, and I'm going to throw it over to the judges in a second, just if you want to share some thoughts. So it's one thing to build the hard skills and learn business model Canvas and learn what it's, build a survey and SurveyMonkey or what have you. But there are two things I kind of call out to you around the importance of soft skills. Because when people choose to work with you, they choose to work with people who they like, people who are able to be leaders and bring in appropriate levels of feedback. So the first question I'd leave you with, how coachable are you? So this past week, you got a bunch of feedback from people, and some of it was surprising, some was annoying, sometimes you didn't want to hear it. Sometimes hard to listen to, but for the people who will judge and look, you know what, the reality of an entrepreneur is if you're coachable, that means you will listen to feedback. You won't necessarily take it. You will consider it. And you may not ultimately decide you're going to run with it. But whether you're investors or customers or partners, if you are coachable, that is very important because then people will want to work with you. Again, it's your decision as an entrepreneur. You're not taking orders. But, how much are you willing to listen to others' opinions, especially if it covers a blind spot? So how coachable are you? The second thing, diversity. As leaders, current leaders, future leaders, you will be making decisions that if you have the like-minded people around you, the scope of the inputs into your decision are limited. And when we talk about diversity, we're not just talking about men, women. We're talking about age, ethnicity. We're talking about things like sexual orientation and even things like how long has somebody been in Canada. So somebody has lived their entire life in Bangalore. They come here. They have a wealth of information. Why not consider it? So I kind of table that soft skills are important. And as you guys go forth in whatever your journeys are, as entrepreneurs, as social activists, as just good people, consider being coachable and how coachable you are, and consider how can you expand the inputs you get into making a decision. How diverse are your decisions? Any thoughts? Well, that's beautiful. So remember last week, I started with why do we do this? We're talking about building, teaching processes, exposing you to entrepreneurship, good food, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing we wanted to leave you with was that it was possible for you to fulfill your idea. It is possible. I hope every one of you walked away going, it's possible. I didn't think I could do it. I actually did something last week, this week, today, this afternoon that I didn't think I was going to do. What more could I do? So let us know. Stay in touch. Here's some information about Y2, some information about Sage. Thank you for your time. It was a big investment. Now have fun. You guys are done.